Hello and welcome to episode 100 of the Lost Spark podcast. I'm Anthony Chesson, and joining me as always, it's old golden tonsils himself, the rugged, roguelike Romeo that is Mr. Darren Whitten.
Hello. How are you doing?
Not too bad, sir, not too bad. How are you?
I'm alright. I'm just trying to straighten my microphone at the moment. It's sort of bent a bit. And I'm straightening it, and it's being stubborn, and it's sort of slipping and sliding away. But it's okay. It's okay. And
always prepared and always ready, Mr. Darren Whitten.
Here I am. And in other news, there's a fly. Just as you said, let's record.
Yeah.
A fly buzzed past, and I'm looking around for that now in annoyance. So that's great, isn't it? I'm going to have a fly disturbing me in my small little room. Hello. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Congratulations, sir. We have made it to 100.
100 episodes. Wow. Could you believe it? 2 years ago, and more, in sort of May time, 2015, when we decided to go on this venture together, that we'd get to 100 episodes.
It's just amazing. It's absolutely amazing. It didn't take us too long to get here, did it? Really?
No, we haven't had that many breaks or weeks off, have we? You know, and when we have, it's been unavoidable.
Yes.
But yeah, you know, I don't think I had any doubt that we would, because it just sort of...
Oh God, no, me neither.
But it's just amazing to be here, because I remember talking to you at the time before we aired our first one, and I remember saying things like, imagine, you know, when we get to, I don't think I even said 100, but, you know, say, so a year in or 2 years in, that we'd have this sort of chronicle that we could listen to, you know, in our dotage. If we wanted to remember that what we were up to, we could just listen to that. And now we've got, you know, if we stopped now, after this one, we'd have 100 episodes, 2 years of our life that we could listen to in pretty intimate detail from the week to week that we've been up to.
Wow, that would just be awesome.
Amazing. A chronicle of ours and gaming's history.
Yes, exactly. A chronicle of this fine hobby that we have, because we just bloody love games. So it's really good just to talk about them on a week-on-week basis.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to get it out. You've got to get it
Absolutely.
out. And I think, you know, you're my favourite guy to get it out too. And this is a great little venting chamber, isn't it? Shouldn't use discussion chamber, but it's much better to do it as a podcast. Get other people to listen to us instead of just doing it if we hooked up on Xbox Live. So, this is gold, we should get this recording.
Do you remember kind of like years and years and years ago where we were playing possibly Gears of War 2 or we were, well, I think it was like a Saturday night and we were just like, right, let's play some games. So we jumped on Xbox Live, we had our headsets on, and then we would probably play about one game, but then just chat for the rest of the time. If only we had that foresight right back then, go, we should record this,
you know,
because both of us were like in stitches throughout the entire, you know, but I remember once we were like, yeah, let's play some Street Fighter, and then we kind of fired up the Xbox and we never played it at all. We just sat there and chatted.
Just stood there in the game, yeah. We're just chatting, and then I remember once we got booted out for not responding in the game. But we were just quite
activity.
Happy.
It was I think the only time we have actually kind of gamed rather than talk, like back then, was possibly when we had like 4-player Beatles Rock Band, wasn't it? Or Rock Band, not just Beatles Rock Band. It was Rock Band, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah. And then you couldn't really, you had to concentrate, didn't you? You know,
yes,
the harder the tunes get, the silenter the people get that are playing. I think with that game,
exactly. And we also had we had the ladies as well. You know, would back up and they would have hit us with the instruments if we just started chatting. So, did you see that trailer the other day for this?
It's so funny though to meet up online to game, but end up just talking about games and not bother playing the game that we're playing, which we're playing because it's great.
Exactly. So, how's your week been, sir?
Yeah, it's not been too bad. What have I been up to? I've been up to this and that. Let me think. I'm just trying to refresh my memory. What I've been doing. I went to Play Expo. Which was pretty cool. Oh, that fly's just landed on me. Oh, it's going to do my head in. I'm sick of flies. It's hot, so I've got the windows open and I've got flies coming in the house. And I really dislike them. You know, there it is. It's on the wall. Have I got anything I can get it with? And I don't like to extinguish life, right? But I just really don't like flies.
Yes, they're just covered in poo.
They're covered in poo, and you know you got to do. You know, you got to clean all your work surfaces like all the time and stuff. Yeah. And as I say this, I'm looking around but keeping my lips at the microphone. I wish I had a rolled up newspaper type thing because it's just there on the wall. It's blown off.
A rolled up newspaper. What are you, like a fly swatter from the 50s? It was like, yeah,
I ain't got anything else.
Take you out. Take you out, you.
I haven't got some newfangled thing. I got nothing. I've only got a few beer mats and things around there, coasters, CD cases.
All throughout the podcast, we're just going to hear things being thrown at the wall.
Yeah, be like, throw my Pit Boy at him. Right, he's flown. He's flown away.
It'd be good for something then.
Yeah. Well, I meant the actual. I've got a little model of a Pit Boy, not the.
Okay.
Not the actual computerised Pit Boy that I got as a limited edition. Wow, but that is its best use would be if it extinguished the life of a fly that was annoying me. I'd be thinking, bit of value for money.
It was worth that trip to game.
As it smashed like an eggshell, the fly would probably escape unscathed.
It's so crap. The fly would escape.
Yeah, I'd love it. It'd be an exact hit, right, dead on, and like the Pit Boy thing would just shatter into 1,000 pieces, and the fly would just go zzz away. Then might fly past me, going, "What's that? Is that all you got, mate?" And the Pit Boy would just be on the floor, just in a smoking, dusty heap. That's all it was worth. Couldn't even slay a fly.
So Play Expo.
Yeah, Play Expo. So yeah, I went there the other week. And it was really good. I think I mentioned on the pod, in the coming up to it, that I was going to go. There's a big gaming exhibition in my close hometown of Blackpool, at a hotel called the Norbeck Castle. This place has got some massive conference rooms, and it was in some of these really huge conference rooms. It was a really great layout. There was a main hall that was just massive, and it was stuffed, chock full of arcades, retro consoles, pinball machines. There was like LAN hookups of Minecraft and what's it called, Team Fortress and things like that. There was a really cool Halo LAN game going on, and they had a big circular table, a bit like EA's Battlefront 2 E3 demo setup. Remember they showed you that? It was like that, but it was all original Xboxes in a circle around a big table, like 16 of them, with Halo linked up. I'm not sure which edition of Halo, but it was really cool. And there was an indie game area. I chatted to some of the devs about their work, and that was really cool. There was a guy there who's making a couple of games that were, I think he wouldn't mind me saying, fairly heavily inspired by Gauntlet, one of them, and the other. He had a game called Dungeon. I was like, "That's Gauntlet." He's like, "No, it's not." He goes, "Look at the way that the screen splits. You can go off and do your own thing." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Crikey!" This was like very, very, very akin to Gauntlet. Let's say it looked good though. But the good thing about that was, there's some kids playing it. They absolutely loved it. You know, these kids that had never seen Gauntlet before, and they were playing it. And it was 4-player, and it was the good thing about it was, as you added a player, the screen split. But if you took a player away, the screen went back to normal. So if like you had 4 players and 2 died, it then split the screen in 2 instead of 4. And then if the second player died, you get the whole screen to the 1 player, which that was really good. And these kids loved it. Little did they know, it might not have all been his own work. And he had another game called what was it called? It was called something like Monster Football or Sinful Football or something like Sinister Football. That was it, because this was Sinister Soft. That was his developer name. Sinister Football it was. And I was like, and I was quite looking forward to seeing this, because I'd got an email about it, and I thought, this will be like Rollerblade from the C64 games, or Speedball, one of these, or Mario Strikers Charged, something like that. And after looking at Gauntlet, I was like, let's have a look at the football game. It's like, that's sensible soccer. It's like, that's sensible. It's like, that's sensible soccer. He goes, no, it's not, because look, there was this little difference. I was like, okay. But he's done some hard work on these, but you can see the inspiration. And he worked in the industry back in the day when those games came out. He said he'd worked for Ocean Software and US Gold and places like that.
Wow.
So he was chatting to me a little bit about that, and that was really cool. So that was really good. And then so they had this big hall with all that stuff in. And then right at the front, they had a big stage. And on the stage, they had Rock Band set up, which was cool. And anyone could just have a go and have a bit of a rock.
Oh, please tell me you did it. Please tell me you did it.
Yeah, I did. I had to. I had a couple of pints first. And then Claire, who joined me, we both went up. It's so good that she can play it. So we went up, and she did bass and I did lead. And we joined in with some of the kids, because there was always people playing up there. And so we just went up there. We went, come on, we really want to go. So we went up on the stage. No one was paying any attention, but it was a big stage and a massive hall. So it gave you that feeling of what it'd be like, because everyone's milling around with all the arcades and all the other stuff. You could proper look down on it from where you were.
Oh, superb.
And there's the odd person, sort of glancing, but it wasn't like there was a crowd around the Rock Band stage. What I think they should have done is maybe piped the Rock Band music through the whole conference area. Because that would have been pretty good, but they didn't do that. You could just hear it where it was. They sort of need to maybe just a little bit of TLC on that, because they hadn't done that before. It was a new idea, and I think it worked really well. So yeah, we joined in and we rocked out for a couple of tunes, and it was really good. Made some friends with the other guys, with the drummer and just a drummer, I think, because we didn't have a singer.
Right.
So we made friends with one drummer, and then he swapped places with his mate who had a drum as well. And Claire and I were just like, playing it and then looking out over the stage. And we came off and we were saying, I think Claire said to me, she went, that is like, gives you the nearest impression you could possibly get to what it'd actually be like to play in on a stage.
Yes.
And I was like, something, that you're absolutely right. And I was like, even if everybody would have been watching us, I was like, once you started, you didn't even care. You're just enjoying the game. Once our fingers warmed up, because everyone was on sort of hard, so we had to go straight to hard, and it's a bit hard when your fingers haven't got sort of warmed up on it or anything. It's like straight on. I was like, flipping heck. Oh, I haven't played it for a while, so that was really cool.
That's so cool. Yeah. So did you stage dive at the end?
No, straight onto the concrete. No, we got called down.
Right.
They were sort of tapping the watches and saying the cosplay masquerade was about to start in like half an hour or so they had to prepare the stage for that. So we got called off. We're like, no, we're rocking out. What are you talking about?
The crowd wants one more. The crowd wants one more.
Yeah, we're going to give them more. We're going to give them some. So that was really good. And then they had a connecting corridor from that massive room of all the game stuff. There's a narrow corridor. The narrow corridor was actually cool on its own, because that had loads of N64s and PlayStation 1s and GameCubes in it, lining it with like people who were playing at different games, and that was really nice to look at. There's some guys playing GoldenEye on an N64. There were some guys playing Mario Strikers Charged on a GameCube, I think it was, and I hadn't seen that game in action before, and I thought, wow, that looks really cool. So that's a game I'm going to keep my eye out on at these places in future, because I've got a GameCube, and I wouldn't mind playing that. It looks really fun. And then you went through this narrow corridor to another equally big hall that was just full of merchandise from the four corners of the gaming world. There's absolutely loads of stuff. Some retro consoles, retro games, T-shirts, swords, toy swords. There was a Keyblade. There was a Master Sword, toy versions. There was real steel replicas of these swords. I was surprised they were allowed to sell it. There was one stand, and it had just daggers, knives, gun blades, swords, all looking mean and metal. And I was just like, wow. I didn't buy any of those. They were doing a tombola, though, that I had to go on. It said, everyone's a winner. You always win. Everyone wins a bladed item. And we were walking past, and two girls had to go, and they won a pair of twin like samurai swords. I forget what they were from. And I was like, wow. Me and my mate were like, we've got to have a go. So we had to go, but we won like this little sort of Christmas cracker plastic sword thing. She was a plant. I sees this one.
Yes.
But that was really good. They had artwork. They had figures. They had pixel art, which I love, which inspired me to make my own a year or so ago. General game art. They had a guy that used to do Spectrum game artwork. He was there in person, and he was selling prints of his work. So like from games like Green Beret and things like that. Mickey, if you remember that, all sorts of different games. And they had a big portfolio that you could just leaf through. It was really thick, and you could just look. It was like looking past memories. Really good. There's even a guy selling Commodore 64 and Spectrum tapes, the original games on tape.
Wow, really?
Yeah, because I had my Commodore 64 T-shirt on, and he went, "We've got some Commodore 64 games down there." I was like, "How do you know?" And then I was like, "Oh yeah." And looked under the table. He had like two big tubs full of tapes.
Oh,
and
my God.
Just found these. Just picked up these tapes that I used to own. I was like, "Oh wow, Monty on the Run!" Hey, it's like really, really cool. And then there was another area where there was guys that had been in the industry, maybe in the golden age of UK gaming, and they were in another area doing talks. and Q&As and stuff, which is pretty cool. But I was rushing around so much that I never really got to sit in on a talk because I kept thinking I was going to miss something somewhere else. But then when I went somewhere else, I kept thinking I was going to miss something somewhere else. So I was constantly just going around all the time. But it was really good. We spent a good afternoon there. I had a great time. And then there was a big cosplay masquerade as well. So the cosplayers had been wandering around, and then they all gathered and they all went on stage, turn by turn, to the theme music for whatever character it was, and did a little performance, which was classic. And then we were all like taking pictures, and then they got judged by a judging panel, and then there were prizes given out. that was funny. That was funny. I don't think we've quite reached Japan in a cosplay style in Blackpool, but it was good. And I got to applaud the efforts from everybody that dressed up, man, because I think it takes a lot of time and dedication to just create and fashion these outfits, and then I think it takes a lot of nerve as well to put them on and parade around. I think it's really cool because I love seeing people in cosplay, but I don't think I'd ever cosplay myself. I'd like to though, but I don't know. I wouldn't even know who I'd cosplay as. Who would you cosplay? And if you were going to, who would you cosplay as?
Oh, I don't know.
Put you on the spot
I
there,
quite like. I think when I went to Gamescom, there was people kind of like walking around like kind of dressed as like Marcus Phoenix and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
and I would love that. But the problem is if you do that, you go right. Okay, I'm going to be Marcus Phoenix. I'm going to be someone in the Gears universe. Then you're walking around with a ginormous suit of armor the entire day. And that, again, kind of at EGX as well. There were some amazing cosplayers there, and I'm the same as you. I really do kind of applaud those people that really do, because they kind of dress up and they get in character, and they're not afraid of people kind of taking pictures and things like that. Everyone wants to kind of take pictures with them, and they all seem to just kind of get into it, get into the spirit. So I really like it. What about you? Would you be someone from like Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah, I'd sort of like.
You'd be the flower girl, wouldn't you?
Oh man, no, but Claire would have to dress up as Aerith. Right. And then I could be
whatever you guys do.
Let's keep that out of the pod. I wouldn't mind being Cloud Strife.
Right.
But I'd have to bulk up a bit. It's alright for all these kids. Or I wouldn't mind being like Sora. A lot of people Sora from Kingdom Hearts. A lot of people that I'd like to be, I'd look ridiculous because I'm too old to do it. I think it's not fair. We need some 40-year-old game coders.
Could you just be Duke Nukem or something like that?
Yeah, that's the only thing left for us. We've got Duke Nukem, the Doom guy, Nathan Drake. But he's boring, isn't he?
Yeah. Did you know that the Doom guy, this was kind of knocking around in the news this week, but the Doom guy on the front cover of Doom was actually John Romero?
Is it John Romero? Because George Romero, sorry.
No, George Romero is the zombie guy.
Oh, is it John Romero then? Oh, yeah, of course, John Romero, the guy.
George Romero, who actually sadly passed.
That's why he was in my consciousness, because he passed away. And
but by all accounts, they were doing the photo shoot, or they were kind of like sketching it, or kind of, and the model kept getting it wrong. So he just kind of, the funny thing is he just kind of, instead of like, this is how you need to pose and like stand there, he just whipped his top off and said like, this is how you need to do it. And then I was like, video games. I just love it. It's just so cool. But I thought it was a great story.
Not as good as my George Romero version.
No, obviously.
That's even better. There was another guy cosplaying, actually. He was like a cross between Darth Vader and a Warhammer guy. So he's about 12 foot high, massive, like, shoes and armour on, and those big old shoulders, a bit like a Gears of War armour, like Warhammer, and a Darth Vader sort of outfit with it. And crikey, man, that was phenomenal. But he must have been hot.
Absolutely.
That's another thing about cosplaying. If you're not a girl, because they're probably pretty, they're probably all right. Because most female characters don't have much on, but a lot of characters in a full outfit, you're going to roast.
Yeah, absolutely. You would just be. You see these people like with big heads, or like San Diego Comic-Con happened over the weekend. And oh boy, did it happen at the weekend. And, I always love watching like IGN and things like that have those, they have these montages of cosplays because it's huge in San Diego Comic-Con. And you're right, there's some people that come with like, there was one guy who had a Mario Kart kind of like around his waist. And you just think, what do you do with that when you're trying to like kind of walk around the Comic-Con? Do you just park it somewhere? And there were some guys with like big heads and I was just like, what do you do with your outfit while you're actually trying to visit the the con itself.
I know. What if there's a really like cool ride they want to go on? Like there was an outrun and an afterburner at this thing I went to, but you wouldn't be able to go on it in your outfit. You know, in your Warhammer outfit. There was a guy dressed up as Commander Shepard with full N7 armor. He was amazingly cool as well.
That's so cool. I love it that these guys are just like crafting these themselves, or kind of just. I just think it's fantastic. I do like kind of similar to that Warhammer one that you were talking about. I love it when they mix it up, like when you see like steampunk Boba Fett and things like that. I love seeing that sort of stuff where they do kind of put a twist on it. I just think that's really cool.
Yeah, or they do the opposite gender of a character, don't they? Like they'll do, like femme version of like Femme Shep. That's available in the game. No, like female Mario or something like that. I quite like it when they twist it up that way. I suppose, Palmer Luckey would have been all right if he went as quiet. So that's always the option. If we ever want to go, you guys listening, if you want to go and cosplay and you don't want to get caught in the heat, just go as quiet. And there you go. The other thing I did... actually, no, I'll leave that till later.
Oh, tease.
Wow. What about you? What have you been up to?
Not much really. I mean, for me, I think over the last couple of weeks, I've seen a couple of movies. So I went to see Planet of the Apes, or War for the Planet of the Apes, which is the third part of this kind of this new trilogy. Have you seen any of the other?
I've seen the other two. Really like them. Yeah.
They're just amazing. Technologically, they are incredible. You sit there watching, you just forget that you're watching CGI, that you're watching these motion capture performances.
Yeah.
The latest one, so far, it's my favourite movie of the year. So far, it's dark, it's very tense. There are points throughout the movie where it does lighten up, and an introduction of a certain character just really does just. I absolutely love it. This character is called Bad Ape, and he is just amazing. I just absolutely like. Nicola fell in love with him, and it was quite funny. When we were having a burger afterwards, she said, "Because Bad Ape just reminded me of you when you've been working from home all day, and like when I come home, you're just like because this is an ape who basically has been on his own for ages, and then the group kind of come across him, and he's just excited to see people, and it's just but the way he's portrayed." And he was motion captured and voiced by Steve Zahn, and it's just fantastic, and he's such a great character. But I really love the movie. The whole movie, from start to finish, like I say, it's very tense. You do find yourself just sitting there like, but it looks stunning. It's incredibly well shot, and Andy Serkis just does a fantastic mocap as Caesar. I just absolutely love it. I just thought it was a fantastic movie, and like I say, it was really cool just to kind of round off that trilogy, and it's almost like it has lots of nods to the Charlton Heston movie and that series. There's the Omega Corporation, there's just a lot of kind of nods to it, as they have done all the way throughout. Even to the fact that there's like kind of Cornelius is a child, and it's fantastic, and I really did just enjoy it, just love it, and I just thought, this was an absolute superb movie.
Cool. Yeah, I've seen the other two, and as I say, really, really like them. So that's great to hear that it's that good. I can't wait to see it. I don't know when I'm going to see it, but I will see it. I will see it. Is there an Easter egg at the end where they all sort of break into the Simpsons version of Dr. Zaius?
Oh, that would be so cool.
Or Dr. Zaius. When you said it had a few light moments, I thought maybe they'd got a Dr. Zaius song in there.
That'd be just so cool. I love that Dr. Z. But anyway, I did notice this week as well, the Simpsons kind of tangent, off we go. The Simpsons, they have a new opening. One of their openings is the Game of Thrones opening.
Oh, wow.
So they do I'll see if I can find it, and I'll stick it in the show notes, but the entire opening was like Game of Thrones. So they kind of go to like the Burns mansion, and it's all kind of building up from there, and it's just, that was really cool. But yeah, so Planet of the Apes, really cool movie. No doubt it will kind of, I think the other two now are on 4K HDR. So you expect maybe this last one will come, and maybe they'll do a box set of all three of them together or something like that. I think they will look absolutely stunning in HDR.
Do you think there's a risk that the first one, you may see the cracks in the effects on the first one in such high fidelity?
Maybe, but the bits where they're like in Muir Woods in San Francisco and things like that will just be, they will look stunning. But yeah, you're right, they could potentially, because it's definitely a movie that has that has moved on. The second and third version of this movie, the second, third parts of this trilogy, definitely have like kind of stuck out to me as kind of a lot better in kind of just in graphics and CGI and just the way that the monkeys move. But even the first one was incredible, wasn't it? The first one was just stunning.
Absolutely amazing. It's funny, because the first one, I said that, but I didn't see any cracks when I watched it. I just thought I'd say it because I'd never watched it in 4K HDR. But the point I was going to make is that, we watched that, and even the first one, I, like you, completely it suspended my disbelief so completely that I didn't think I was looking at CGI at all. I felt the ape was, well, I thought it was human, really, but I felt it was like a real animal acting the part.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It just you. I think, like I said, the first time you watch it, the second one and third one, whenever, you just think, oh wow, that's incredible. I can't believe they've done that. And then that's the moment that you have right at the start. Then your brain just lets go. Yeah. I think because there's never a point. There used to be, and there still are in some movies. There's points where it pulls you out, where you see something wrong. And I think with animals, like CGIing animals and apes and things, it's a lot easier to do. But it's when you have they still haven't got human movement correct. There's lots of things in like the later Harry Potters or things like that where you just kind of, oh, that was really bad CGI, and it always pulls you out of that world that you've just been kind of sucked into. But with Planet of the Apes, you just don't see it. You just never see the strings.
Yeah, that was my point really, because I was going to say about Rogue One with Admiral Tark, Peter Cushing.
Yes.
And it was like, well, if they could do it with is it chimpanzees? Is he a chimp? Can't remember the species.
So. Yeah, he is. He's going to be
a
chimpanzee.
That's where Amazon got their name from. Yeah, if they can do it so well, it must be something like you're saying about like animals versus humans. Though those chimps have got they've got like skin on the face, haven't they? It's strange because that looks so good, whereas the Peter Cushing in Star Wars looks good, but it doesn't look real.
No.
And it's weird because what Planet of the Apes did for me was make me think it was real. In Star Wars, it stuck out like a sore thumb. Yes, and it's like, whoa, this is just... It may as well have been cel-shaded. It stuck out that much. So it's just strange, isn't it, that they didn't quite do it with all that money that Disney have got. Yet the Planet of the Apes film did it years ago, and it looks seamless. But maybe, like you say, it's just sort of haven't quite got that uncanny valley sorted out yet with human graphics.
But maybe that's the difference between ILM, who are spot on, they're amazing, and Weta, because it's Weta that does Planet of the Apes.
They needed to get Weta in then, didn't they?
Yeah, they do. They need to remake Rogue One. Okay. So, but yeah, though, I think Matt Reeves, who is the director of the last two of the movies, I think he'd done an absolutely superb job. And of course, his next movie is the Batman. So, with hopefully still Ben Affleck as Batman. There's rumours over the weekend that maybe Ben Affleck might be stepping down, might be still making some more. He never was quite closed-lipped during San Diego, so I just hope I just want him to be Batman forever. If he's not going to be Batman, then it has to be Carl Urban as Batman, because they're just the only two people I think that can play it. So Planet of the Apes, Matt Reeves did really well, and then the other one that I went to see, oh god, I have to mention this because it drove me crazy, and I went to see Cars 3. So Nicola and I, we actually had because we were doing DIY in the house, we just gave ourselves a Saturday off, and there were two new movies that came out. So we went to see Planet of the Apes in the morning at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then we came out of Planet of the Apes, had some lunch, a bit of a wander around, and then we went to see Cars 3. I think it was probably about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. And the movie is okay, better than Cars 2, not as good as Cars 1. It's okay, it's a good movie, but the problem is I couldn't focus because every single child in that movie theatre was talking.
I thought you were going to say every single child in a 10-mile radius was there.
I felt like it. It was a packed cinema, and it was full of kids, and literally, between the Pixar short and then Cars, when the sound goes down just before, it was the noise, the din was incredible. We had kids running around down at the bottom bit, and these kids had 3 laps of all of the chairs before someone stopped them. And then by the second lap, they'd got more kids running around, and just like, and there was constant noise and talking, and it was just like, and Nicola and I just sat there like going, you know, when Incredibles 2 comes out, we are going to a midnight showing, and I will scream at a child if there's one there. You know, like, it was just, I mean, I go to every single, the only Pixar movie I haven't seen at the cinema was Finding Dory, but I go to every Pixar movie at the cinema because I just love them on the big screen, because I just think they're just incredible, especially at Showcase Cinema, which I go because they have like 4K screens, and they just look incredible, and so I like the whole cinema experience, but this just killed me. I mean, I'm all for a kid saying, you know, want to go to the toilet or whatever, but during the movie, they were just non-stop. You know, the kid next to me was just non-stop talking. So I asked like the parents just to be quiet, and they just like, there was just nothing. I just looked at the mother and just like, but there was nothing. This kid just kept moving and kept walking around, and I was just like, Nicola and I would just look at it, but it was so off-putting, and it was so annoying that it just took you away from the movie. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't even tell you what.
Yeah.
It was,
just brimming over with anger. Concentrating on the lack of parenting, and the kids going at riot takes over from the movie. Like, they're doing it again.
Exactly. I mean, and it wasn't just 1 or 2. It was just like a kid screaming up the back, and it was just really weird because when I've taken my nephews to the cinema, and we've gone to see lots of movies, especially as they've been growing up. You know, I remember we went to see. I can't remember what it was. It might have been Big Hero 6, and was one, and you know, my nephew Will, my nephew Ed, you know, they're really good, you know, and at one point Will was like, "Oh, did you see that?" And I just went, save it, let's just save it for the end of the movie, you know, and then we'll talk about it after then. And that was it, you know, they're just so well behaved that you kind of walk in, and you know, Nicola and I looked around and go, there's a lot of kids here, and we're like, it's fine, they'll all be okay, it's fine, everyone's going to be quiet, and then just did not stop talking. And I thought it's okay, when the movie starts, it's going to be exciting and they will stop, but they didn't. And I just appeal to parents, if you take your child to the cinema, you know, just there's got to be something that you have to instill into them at an early age, that when you're at the cinema, it's not like being at home. You have to be quiet during the movie because there's other people that are just trying to enjoy it. I mean, have you taken Sam to the cinema yet? You took him to see Star Wars, didn't you?
Yeah, so he's been to see not much, but yeah, he's been to see about 3 or 4 things, probably 3. One was the Moomins, and that was a kids AM thing, so it's full of kids. They were quiet. Quiet-ish, anyway, quieter than what the cacophony you've just explained.
That is the perfect word for what I had, honestly.
Complete cacophony. I took it, yeah. So with episode 7, we went to watch it first because he was, you know, it was a few years ago, and so he was only, I don't know what, 4, I think, but I wanted him to see it. So we went and saw it, just me and Claire. First of all, to see if it was suitable, because if there was anything too bad in it, we wouldn't have took him. And we thought that it was okay. And also the reason that we saw it on our own was if it was suitable and Sam got bored or loud or whatever, we could just walk out with him straight away. And we wouldn't be missing it. So we wanted to see it first of all, you know, make sure. But so then we'd never really been for a long film with him. But then we took him and he was fine. You know, we made sure that we fed him before we went in. Made sure he'd gone to the loo and all the rest of it. And the great thing about that film, it kept him entertained. You know, it was entertaining all the way through. I saw him getting a bit twitchy about an hour and a half. There'd been a long bit, a bit of a story bit, and I could tell he was getting a bit fidgety, but then he went on to an action bit and he was okay. And he lasted to the end. And, you know, we could have took him the first time. It would have been okay. And he was the same in Rogue One. He was fine. We just made sure that, you know, he wasn't hungry and he'd been to the loo and he had some water and stuff. And we told him before we went in that, you know, going to the cinema is a special thing, and, you know, you've got to enjoy the film and you be quiet. Otherwise, we'll have to go. And, you know, if he would have been really noisy and started disturbing it for everybody else, we would have walked.
Yeah.
So what approach did you give it to the parents? Did you give them the exasperated shrug?
We did. Did you
do the turnaround?
Yes. I did the old classic turnaround and shake
half eye roll. Whole roll.
Yeah. I did. I went full shake of head. You know, and Yeah, there was one group of parents. There was one parent that was in front of us, and their child was crying. Yeah, so in the movie, during the movie, they were like, "So Tarquin, tell us what's scary." I don't know if that was his name, but it just felt like it. They're like, "So you're frightened? Let's talk about that. Why are you scared?" I felt like I'd take the little baby outside.
Yeah, take the amateur baby psychobabble out of the door to the mattress, to the couch outside, and do it.
Let's talk about your feelings. I'm going to hold the feeling ball. Would you like to hold? It was just like, oh God.
And your fists are just clenching that chair tighter and tighter.
I'll give him a feeling ball. I was just like, oh. It was terrible. So like Nicola and I are like, right, we're done now with because a lot of the time we go. I think I've said it before on the podcast, but we go early in the mornings on a Saturday because Planet of the Apes opening weekend. It wasn't IMAX. It was just a 2D. Actually, we saw that 3D, so it was a 3D cinema. But there was only about 15 people in there, and it's glorious. It's absolutely superb because the more people that you get in there, the more chance you're going to get it to be spoiled. I was happy with Star Wars because people were quiet, everyone was excited to be there, and again, kind of get there early. It's full of my kind of people, so it's just. But honestly, it just worries me. It pushes me more and more to stay at home with these and start watching movies at home because it brings you out of that experience just so much. It just takes you out of that experience.
Yeah, it's a terrible thing. Especially, I can't believe that the whole place was just in uproar, pandemonium.
Yes.
What about the attendance? Didn't someone come in and say, "Quiet, please"? Or is there an understanding? No. At what time was it you went? 4 o'clock, did you say?
Yeah, this was about 3:30, I think.
I think it's got to be the mornings. I reckon the parents of these noisy children are the kind of parents that don't get up early. Because when I went to see Star Wars, I was at 10 o'clock. It was the earliest showing, 10 o'clock, and I thought it'd be full of kids.
Yeah.
And there's not a kid in sight. So maybe they all have a lazy morning. And then they go to the cinema in the afternoon. And then they've had all their McDonald's and sugar and stuff. Had like 3 McDonald's milkshakes. So they're all just buzzing. And that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, I'm sorry.
There was one group across the hallway, and I'll stop ranting in a minute. There was one across the aisle, and there was this group of parents. They must have gone to the toilet about 5 times. They had 2 kids, 2 parents, and not only were they going to, they were also sharing a text message. There was like they were like, "Oh look," and they were shining the. And I was just like, "I hate you. I just hate you so much. I just want you to go." They just kept getting up, and then when they came back, the girl went, "Oh, you've just missed a really good bit. Lightning McQueen's just crashed," and I'm like, "Yes, we're all watching them." It was just like I really wanted to start screaming at them. And it was just like, did
you break and did you get vocal, or did the
the
Great British Reserve keep you in check? Fuming.
I'm too nice. Yeah, I'm too nice.
It's not fair. It's not right, is it?
Nicola and I kind of had a bit of a vent afterwards, and we went for a coffee, and we were like, "Oh, I can't believe," but we would like, the Incredibles 2, which is next year, and also the one about the guitar, the kind of Samba de Amigo kind of get one that's coming out. I said that I really want to see both of those ones. Cast was just like, let's just go to the cinema let's watch 2 movies, but they're 2 Pixar movies I really want to see. And I said to Nicola, we are going in the evening. I'm never going to do that again, And I did actually tweet to Showcase Cinema, say like, can we have adult only Pixar showings? If you're going to show a Pixar movie, can we have an adult one? And that's why I thought, well, it's going to be 10 o'clock, isn't it? It's going to be that 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Slap an 18 on the next Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Just for the adults, but I agree.
I'll stand at the door next time with a clipboard, go, wait, okay, little man, can you be quiet for more than 20 minutes? And they go, no, I like to talk. I'm like, right off, sling your out, son.
They need a noisometer in or whatever it's called in the cinema, that's wired through to the main desk or something. And if it gets over a certain level, they should come in. I suppose though it would be clever technology to filter out the sound of the film that's being shown and only focus on the din of the kids.
They should have an annoying button that you can press under your seat. You're like a panic button. They're reading the movie.
And then and it's got to be. You need that. Everyone's got one, so no one knows who it is.
Yeah.
So if there's like a big gang of teenagers and you didn't want them to like call your names for the rest of the film, you could just subtly press that red button under your seat. Attendant comes in, shines his torch in their eyes, and kicks them out.
You can imagine it being like Yo Sushi. You press the button and suddenly behind you a big light appears. It's like, this person just told on you.
Yeah, seat number 45. I don't care as long as they all get rolled out on the conveyor belt.
Yeah,
all the bad ones.
Yeah,
then it'll be okay.
Oh, superb. So, what have you been playing in our 2-week break? What have you been playing?
Right, well, I've been playing a little bit, well, quite a lot actually, of Zelda and Mario Kart. So they're my sort of staples through the ongoing lull. I'm finding it's still a bit of a lull. What I've been doing in Zelda, Tarry Town, I've been working on.
Have you done it yet?
No, yeah. What does he want me to do now? Like loads of wood. I brought the Goron back to him.
Awesome.
And then he asked me for something else. I can't remember. Oh yeah, a Rito. He wants a Rito person.
Right.
Not a tailor, because that was the Gerudo, I think. Yeah, that's correct. So a Rito of some profession. So I went over to where all the Ritos are, and I was looking around for someone. I think it was a merchant or something. And I thought I'll just go to Rito Town, but I haven't found them yet. So I'm wandering around the Rito people looking for a specific one, because I quite like that quest. And I got my fireproof armour as well, which was good, because it was getting very annoying. Because the first, you're not going to believe this, mate, but for the first few hours, not like half an hour and then get bored, but my stupid gaming pride, I was determined to get through the hot areas of Mount, whatever it's called, without using fire elixirs.
What? Why? What?
I just thought that you could do it. Well, I was trying to catch the fire lizards in the hot bit, but without having a fire potion. And I was trying to do it by keep eating stuff. Anyway, I got bored after a while. So then I made myself a few fire elixirs. And you know what? It was a lot easier. It was a lot easier then.
No.
Yeah, what an idiot. Yes. So yeah, I did that, and I got myself some nice armour that protects me from the heat. And that was great, because it felt so refreshing to be not having my hearts dwindle in that fiery region. So I suppose kind of next is sort of Divine Beast.
Oh, is that your last one?
Yeah, that'll be my fourth one, yeah. So my fourth Divine Beast is the fiery one. So I've been playing that, and I've been playing Mario Kart. Not much to say about Mario Kart, except it's just, damn fun. It's really, I just love it. It's great. So we all play that. Even my good lady wife Claire is getting better and better. She's starting to learn how to drift.
Nice.
Yeah, Sam's kind of forcing her. He's like, Mummy, you've got to be able to drift. I've been saying this to her for years. Before he was born, she never listened, but she listens to Sam, so that's good for me. So we've been playing 3-player Mario Kart, which is great fun. Sam's getting. I told you he beat my nephews.
Yes,
he's getting good, man.
Wow.
I played it earlier today. He's off on for summer holidays now, and we played it earlier today. And I don't really blast him with weapons or anything, but once he gets away, I can't catch him.
Right.
And it's hard. It's hard. It's not easy. It's hard to beat him, and it's hard to take. I love it though. I love it, but I'm like, crikey! I really have to concentrate as much as as my most. As if I can't speak. I have to concentrate the most to my limit to be able to sort of beat him.
Right.
Which is ridiculous. He's only 6, but it's great. I really love it. So he's good. But I'm going to have to start getting a bit nasty with the red shells.
I was going to say, have you thrown a blue shell at him yet?
I do occasionally. He goes mad. But I'm going to have to teach him about the real world a little bit.
Yes, yes.
So, he can win now with me being nice. But obviously the NPCs don't care. They all go mad. But yeah, we'll have games and I'll get caught up in the pack. If I end up being 5th, and when it's hard if you get caught in the middle because you just get blasted and bombed all the time, and he'll just get such a lead, and I'm just like, I can't believe this, I can't beat him. As I'm racing round and it's the last lap, I look at him, it's in the distance, a little speck, and I've just realised, I go, I can't beat him no matter what I do. Like, wow. And I'm sort of like, well done, Sam, but on the other hand, I'm like, oh man. So I've been playing Mario Kart, and it's really good. I love it. And we've been having we had some family and friends over, so we had a bit of a quiz night. We played You Don't Know Jack, and pack. So we played You Don't Know Jack, the main game, and we played a lot of Drawful. With about 5 or 6 of us, all with our own devices, drawing pictures and trying to guess what they were. That was really great. And also, in the spirit of those kind of games, we gave That's You a try, which was on PS Plus. Either still this month or last month. It's this month's game, isn't it? It's this month's game. And you know something, it's really good. It's not as quick fire as, say, the Jack games, but it's really good. Played it with 2 of us, with 3 of us, and now with like 5 of us, I think it was. And is it 4? I think the maximum amount of players might be 4 or 5. I can't remember anyway. But the thing is, when we played with like 4 or 5 people, the game was just so different than it was with just 2 or 3.
Right.
It's really good. So adding numbers to that game really improves it. You might have a go if you just played it with Nicola, like I did with Clay. You'd probably come away thinking, it was all right for free. But if you've got a good handful of people round and you play it, it's really different because it changes it. Just the amount of players just changes what it can do within the game, and it makes it really good fun.
That sounds so cool.
Yeah, I'd recommend that. Anyone who hasn't downloaded it yet, why haven't you? You may as well. It's free. I'd recommend getting it and just getting some guys round, but try and get 4 people as a minimum and have a go on it. It's really, really great fun. Really great fun. It's just good, clean fun, It's the sort of game you could put on with people, with non-gaming people, because it uses an app. It uses that PlayStation Link app that you download to your personal device. So everybody's going to be comfortable that they're playing with their own device, not what's this joypad? I don't understand that. Hey, Grandpa! It's like, so everyone's playing with, get them to get on a tablet or whatever. Everyone could just download the app on Android or iOS and get involved with the drawings and the answers and what do you know? It's good fun. So I was playing that. That was on, I don't know, Friday night, I think it was. Really great night. Everybody enjoyed it. Like, really enjoyed it. For some reason, they enjoyed it more than watching me on Horizon Zero Dawn for hours on end. I mean, they got no taste, have they?
No, some people.
I know. 4K HDR? Some people. Why didn't they enjoy that? And then, right, this is what we're going to mention before about what I've been doing. The other thing that I did was, and it leads into what I've been playing, which is why I put it onto a little hiatus. As you did, I think, I watched the Kingdom Hearts 3 Toy Story trailer.
Right.
Which took my breath away. I thought it was absolutely amazing. And a little bit of trivia for you about that. There's been an interview in Famitsu with the Kingdom Hearts 3 director, Tetsuo Nomura, and he said that they received sample data from Pixar for the Toy Story, for the graphics. But they, as a team, didn't expect to be able to reproduce the source material as faithfully as they did. And he said that even the staff at Pixar were surprised.
Wow.
At how well they did the graphics. So, when I saw it, I know that Toy Story 1 is quite a long time ago now. I think it was 1995, actually. So, many years ago. But it does seem that almost as if we've hit that that CGI movie, admittedly not current day, but that Toy Story CGI Pixar standard in games, because it really did look that good, I thought.
Yeah, no, it looks absolutely stunning. I just thought when you kind of see Woody in it, it's just it's incredible. You're right, it is kind of like Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2 kind of level, but it's just amazing. I was blown away by it. I was just, that made me want it. That made me want to play Kingdom Hearts.
Well, this is what happened with me. So I watched it, and I was like, Sam, you've got to watch this, it's amazing. He goes, what is it? I said, it's Kingdom Hearts 3. What's Kingdom Hearts? Or what's Kingdom Hearts 3? I said, well, Kingdom Hearts 3 is a game that's coming out sometime next year, hopefully. But I played Kingdom Hearts, years ago, and it was brilliant, and it's got all these characters from computer games, and it's got Disney characters that you'd like. I was like, I know, I'll show you the trailer. So I found a trailer, and the only trailers on YouTube now that I could find anyway from the old trailer that I loved from Kingdom Hearts, they're all like sort of original source material, so they're all really fuzzy and bad quality and in a small window, which is really disappointing. But anyway, I showed him, and he's not bothered about that. He was just like, wow, I love this. And I was kind of like, yeah, something, I really liked Kingdom Hearts, and the trailer made me want to play Kingdom Hearts again. So I weakened my resolve, And I had a look around to find out how much this... they brought out this collection in March for PS4 called Kingdom Hearts 1.5/2.5 Remix.
Yes.
And I never gave it really a second thought when it came out. All I said was, I'll go online on the pod with saying, I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm sick of all these silly spin-offs. I'm not interested. So anyway, because I wanted it, and I wanted to play it in, I didn't want to play it in old fuzzy mode on the PS2. So I started reading up about it, and it turns out that Kingdom Hearts 1.5/2.5 Remix is actually pretty much all the games, including the spin-off games that in the Kingdom Hearts series, all in one package.
Wow.
Which I didn't realise, actually. It misses out only one of the games. What it does, So what they did these remasters first of all on PS3. I'm going to give you some Kingdom Hearts details here. They did Kingdom Hearts on PS2 in 2002. All right, so it's 15 years since I played it, which is amazing. And then on PlayStation 3, they brought out these remixes. Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 Remix. That came out on PS3 in America on September the 10th, 2013. And it was around that for all the territories. And what that did was it had a remastered version of Kingdom Hearts, and it had Chain of Memories with enhancements. It's like so he got the, and what else did he get? And Kingdom Hearts, and all the cutscenes of Kingdom Hearts 358/2 Days. Right. So what it was,
catchy title.
Yeah. Right. So what it is, you get basically. They made these into director's cuts with added bits. So there was bits that only came out in Japan, so they got included in these releases. So it got everything that they could possibly throw at it, sort of the director's cut, super duper edition. And what it did, it gave you the full game of Kingdom Hearts with all this extra stuff. It gave you this other game, like a spin-off game, but it carries on with a story. And this is it's still a full-featured game, but it's like a card game or something. But it's still a full game. Haven't played it. And then the other bit was the third game or something, but it didn't give you that as a game, but it gave it you as like an hour of cutscenes that are all just all together. And then Kingdom Hearts 2.5 Remix followed the same template, in where you got Kingdom Hearts 2 with all the stuff, and then you get like another game that carries on the story. I don't know anything about that yet. And then you got another collection of cutscenes as well that explain the story. So really, getting them together in one package is really cool, because it's sort of, if you're looking forward to Kingdom Hearts 3, it brings you completely up to date, pretty much.
Right. Oh, okay.
Apart from, there's also another one called Kingdom Hearts 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, but I'm drawing the line there. I'm drawing the line. But what I'd say, if anyone was interested, is this package, and I didn't realise that it was such a comprehensive package. You can get it for around, if you wait for a sale, I think you can get it for around £35, something like that. And it includes sort of, apart from this 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue thing that I don't think you actually need, it gives you the whole Kingdom Hearts experience right up, to take you right up to where you need to be for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Wow.
And it's all on the one disc. It's all on the PS4. And I didn't realise, but the PS4 Pro version's been enhanced. It's 4K native, 60 frames per second.
No, really?
No, honestly, yeah. I couldn't believe it. It was like, I got it and found all this out. It was like really good.
What's it look like?
It looks stunning. It holds up really well. Because of the sort of, because it's like cel shaded, because it's cartoony. It looks amazing. It looks really good. And it's so smooth, and there's almost like no loading times as well.
Right.
And there's also, apart from, there was like a 4 to 5 gig update when I first installed it. But it's as if it runs off the disc, because there was like barely any install time, unless it installed it while the patch was installing or downloading. Yeah, so yeah, it's strange. Now I got you some Kingdom Hearts details, Anthony, just to whet your appetite. So the initial idea for Kingdom Hearts, I didn't know all this till just this recent Kingdom Hearts renaissance that I've had. It started with a discussion between two guys, Shinji Hashimoto and Hironobu Sakaguchi, and they were talking about Super Mario 64 way back when. They were planning to make a game with freedom of movement, like an open world 3 dimensions game like Super Mario 64, and they weren't happy that the only characters as popular as Disney's. They said that basically the only characters that could rival a Mario game would be Disney characters.
Right.
And Tetsuya Nomura, the director of Kingdom Hearts, he overheard the conversation and he volunteered to lead the project, and the 2 producers agreed to let him direct it. Then Squaresoft and Disney were in the same building at the time.
What?
And they were in a lift, and it was by chance that these guys were in a lift. There was a Disney executive in a lift with the Square guys, and they pitched it to him in an elevator, and that's how it got conceived. Well, not conceived, but that's how it took off. Yeah.
Wow.
Can you believe it? So it's just that those 2 offices were sharing the same building that made it exist.
Wow. They literally gave the elevator pitch.
Yeah, the elevator pitch, man. They just grabbed it. And as well, when they redid this game on the PlayStation 3, so like it came out in 2002, the release of the game on PS3 was like 2013. But apparently when they did that remaster for PlayStation 3, the original source code had been lost. So the developers had to get hold of a retail copy of the game, extract the assets to create the PlayStation 3 versions. So they almost did it from scratch. And by decompiling and virtually rebuilding the game from scratch, they then got it running at 30 frames per second on PlayStation 3. But they also redid the music from sort of computer generated to using a full orchestra. So on this version you get a full orchestral soundtrack. It's a very good soundtrack too. And also you get some new textures and new graphical effects and things like that because they had to redo them because they didn't have it.
Wow.
Can you believe that you wouldn't just have a copy?
Yeah, wouldn't have it backed up in the cloud.
Yeah, well, I suppose we didn't have a cloud back then. But you know,
they had
what about
in Final Fantasy VII?
They did. It was too much. It was too much strife, though.
Oh, lovely.
Did you know that on PlayStation 2, Kingdom Hearts ran natively at 512 by 384? Because I know this because I was looking around on YouTube to see. Once I'd seen it on PlayStation 4, I wanted to remember what it used to look like, and it's weird because in your mind's eye it looked, or my mind's eye, it looked good, and then you see it and you think, wow, it's so clunky and so blocky. And I found this great Digital Foundry analysis of the PS4 version, and I'll put a link in our show notes for it because it's awesome. And Richard Ledbetter and the crew go through the PS4 version, basically singing its praises. A lot of these facts actually come from that analysis. As I told you, it's native 4K on PS4 Pro at 60 frames per second. But just going back to that 512 by 384 on PS2 resolution. Now, for perspective, let's have a look how far we've come in the 15 years since then, since the PS2 version. The PS2 version runs with just 2.4% of the pixels that the 4K PS4 Pro version runs with.
Wow.
2.4%. Or you can look at it another way, that the PS4 Pro version delivers 42 times the number of pixels as the PlayStation 2's native resolution version.
Wow, that's incredible.
I know. So, that was some hopefully interesting Kingdom Hearts facts that I took great pains to write down because I was so fascinated when I was reading about it. So, I bought Kingdom Hearts 1.5/2.5 remix. I got it because I wanted to play Kingdom Hearts 1, and that's what I'm playing at the moment. I'm playing it, trying to not play it unless Sam's around so that we can play it together. And we've been thoroughly enjoying it. And as I say, mate, it looks amazing. The 4K, it must be because of the style of the graphics, and probably because it got redone for PlayStation 3 as well. But because it's that sort of cartoon, bright, there's not like loads of shading going on. It really stands up well. I mean, the worlds of, like you go to Hercules' world, like you go to the arena at Olympus, you go to Ariel's world in The Little Mermaid, the Nightmare Before Christmas world, and they all look amazing. Tarzan is one of the early worlds you go to as well, and it just looks great. And all the characters, they look perfect. Really, you know. It looks really, really, really amazing. So that can look like this now. It's going to be, you know, and it just makes me really excited about Kingdom Hearts 3, Toy Story World. We've already been told we're going to get a Big Hero 6 world. I don't know what other worlds we're going to get in there.
Wow. I was trying to think. I'm sure there was someone else had mentioned another world as well that sounded quite cool. You know, that they hadn't done that one before. I can't remember now. It was definitely a Disney movie, kind of a recent Disney
Wasn't Tangled,
movie.
was it?
Hmm?
Was it Tangled?
Maybe. Could have been. Yeah, it could have been.
Yeah, I was trying to think what I'd want. If I could pick anything, what I'd throw in there. I'm quite happy with Toy Story, but now my mind's gone blank of Disney movies. I mean, we've already had Pirates of the Caribbean and Tron in Kingdom Hearts 2, so I don't know, just whatever. Big Hero 6 sounds like fun.
Yeah, Big Hero 6 would be awesome because that's such a great movie.
Yeah, and just the fact... Go on.
Isn't that what's the name? Isn't that the premise of Kingdom Hearts 3 that the big guy that went into the vortex at the end got stuck and he's now the villain? You know, where he sends a hero back.
Oh, I don't know. You know, I haven't read anything about the story.
Right, okay. I'm sure it's like linked to Big Hero 6, or there is a maybe a villain that's linked to Big Hero 6.
Oh, wow. Well, I look forward to it. And that trailer, as I say, just kicked me off on this massive nostalgia trip. And I just went out and got Kingdom Hearts. I didn't realise as well that pack, that 1.5 stroke 2.5 remix was... I didn't even know what it was. And I'm really happy that it actually... Not only is Kingdom Hearts, the original, done it so well, which I would have probably bought anyway, but it also includes all those other games as well, like the other Kingdom Hearts 1 in the series, and then Kingdom Hearts 2, and then a few others. So it's if you're interested in the series, whether you played it or not, you could get that and be quite happy, you know, with hours and hours of adventure. I think we've played it for about 20 hours so far, and it's been good. It does reflect its time a little bit in its floatiness of Control. There's some platformy bits that are a bit awkward, to say the least. You're sort of trying to jump on a tree branch or something and you miss it because it's clumsy. And you're kind of like, how did I ever put up with this sort of thing? But it's worth it because it's just so nice to be in those worlds. You know, it's just really nice. So I hope they fix that for the next iterations. I'm sure they will. But yeah, it's a good thing. So
that's so cool.
Yeah.
So is Sam enjoying it as well?
Yeah, he's really enjoying it. Though I don't think he's enjoying it as much as Mario Kart.
Right.
But I think maybe it's maybe just something that's gonna grow in him. And actually, I talk about the platforming. Persona 5's control system was pretty rubbish. If I'm fair, it was just an amazing game. Sort of the whole of the game made it sort of less relevant about the control system being a bit poo. So the same could be maybe argued with Kingdom Hearts as well. You know, it's about the sum of the parts, isn't it, rather than just that one aspect. The whole thing is kind of so beautiful. You can kind of forgive it for one of the fundamental parts of the game being a bit rubbish, which other games would not get away with. But yeah.
No.
So what about you? What have you been playing, mate?
Well, I've got a couple. I've been playing. I jumped into the Destiny beta Saturday morning. I jumped into the Destiny 2 beta and had a go at that on Xbox. So I kind of fired up the Xbox and had a look, see what it was like, and oh my god, it is just so awesome. I was having a blast. So Nicola didn't want to play it because she was happy to just kind of jump in when it comes out. So I was just kind of playing on my own, headphones on, and I went through the story mode, because in the beta, as we reported a couple of weeks ago, you had the story mode, you had I think there was a strike, and there was also a bit of Crucible as well, which is the PvP. So I just jumped into the story mode just to kind of see what it was like, just to see how it, you know, whether they'd ruined it, you know, whether Destiny had been ruined, but it hadn't. It was just so good. So I kind of played through the first section where you're in the tower, and the tower's been destroyed, and you've got to kind of work your way through it, and it was just more Destiny, but it was just really good. You know, it felt good, and it felt nice being back in Destiny. It felt nice being kind of playing it again. And to one point where Nicola kind of came into the room, and she went, "Oh, Destiny! Oh, I really missed that." And then she just looked at me. She was like, "When's that out again?" And I was like, "September." And she was like, "Okay," you know, and then walked away because it's definitely kind of got its hooks in both of us. But I was really enjoying it, and it was quite nice just to kind of get in and just kind of have a feel of how the weapons felt, and how the system feels, and how nice it looks and things like that. So it was just really, it was a really good beta. Did you jump in at all?
No, I didn't. Have I missed it now?
Yes, actually, because while we're podding on Tuesday night, it's actually finishing because they extended it for a couple of days.
Yeah. I've been too busy. I was too busy reading up on Kingdom Hearts facts. So I didn't have a chance to do anything else. No, I didn't. I thought I probably won't get it, but I just thought if I play it, I might change my resolve. So I left it. But did the campaign feel weighty? Did it feel more consequential than it did, where it felt quite inconsequential in the original Destiny?
Oh, absolutely. I think as reported previously, they fixed all of that in the in one of the DLCs, where they kind of really did add some really deep story, and kind of Bungie do what they do well, which is they tell a good yarn. So, and absolutely, so straight away you kind of feel like you're kind of real part, and it's just improving on the Taken Kings DLC. It's just improving on that. It's just improving on kind of, we hear you about the story, and we're just really kind of get you invested in this character. And so I was playing, you kind of have there's two parts, and when I was playing through that and kind of playing onto the second part, when it finished, I was like, I just wanted to keep playing. I was glad really, because I had some DIY to do on Saturday, and if I had the full game, I wouldn't have stopped playing, because it was where I've been saying over the last couple of weeks, I'm desperate for something to get its hooks on me. That was it. That was it. I was disappointed when it finished, because I didn't want it to end. So, and I did jump into the social space. There was a social space test on Sunday. Unfortunately, I was too busy. But by all accounts, that sounds like it could be quite cool. But this was the game. This is the kind of game that I'm looking for to kind of play at the moment. And but I just have to wait now until September.
Wow, what are you going to do in the meantime then?
Oh, I don't know. Well, I am playing Splatoon 2. Thank you very much. Nice segue. Look, after 100 pods, we've got this down pat. So I have been playing Splatoon 2. So I've got Splatoon 2, obviously, on the Switch. It's the only thing it's available on. So I've been playing that, and kind of been playing it in both handheld mode. I've taken the motion controls off, because I'm not a monster. So I've taken those off, and I'm kind of just using the normal controls, and they work really well, especially in handheld. They work perfectly. And the great thing about Splatoon 2 is that you can choose the settings between TV mode and handheld. So if you wanted to do motion controls when you're in the TV, then you can leave that on, or you can just take the motion controls off on both. So that's really cool that you have the option to do that.
Yeah, I like the differential there. It's really good. I saw that on the settings when I was playing on the Splatfest Global Splat Test, I think it was called.
Right.
And I thought that was really good, because you can otherwise, because it's a portable console, you'd be constantly changing the settings. But great that the thought of that. Set it for tabletop, set it for TV mode, and you're done. I like that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it would be an absolute pain if you're playing it in handheld mode to kind of use the motion control, especially if you're on the train. You look all right full.
Yeah, you hit the guy next to you when you're trying to sneak around the corner.
Exactly, take out a balloon and he's up there, you just have to take someone out. But yeah, so I'm really enjoying Splatoon 2. I never played Splatoon, so this is kind of my first foray into this franchise, and I absolutely I'm really enjoying it. So I've been playing some of the story, I've been playing some of the competitive multiplayer as well. Had a game on Sunday, and also friend of the show, Matt, and I jumped into, and also Stuart as well, we jumped into some salmon run, but it ended up just being Matt and I kind of doing the salmon run, because this is the most convoluted, crappy kind of system to actually try and find to get online. So you had 3 moderately intelligent guys, trying on Sunday night to try and get a multiplayer game working on Splatoon. We all wanted to do the salmon run. Went over to one place, was like, here's the salmon run. But it was just rando, so it just put you into rando. So we went, okay, fine. We all had the Nintendo app, so we fired up the Nintendo app. We joined a room. That was Mensa quiz to get that working. So we got that working, and then the writer said, okay, right, let's all kind of break up, see if we can find it. First one to do it, just invite them into the room. Of course, the moment we all just came away from that screen, dropped all of our connection. So we came here and Matt is leaving the room. We're like, no, he's not.
Oh.
So it was just, so what we ended up doing was we all ended up setting up a Discord a server. So we now have a Discord server which we all can kind of chat and we can all talk to. You might have seen a lot of messages on Sunday night when we were playing. I don't know, because you're in the Forza group, aren't you? So you might have woken up on Monday going, what the hell is happening here? But so because we just could not figure it out. So we just say we're in one area. They were saying here's the salmon run, but it's local play only. And so I had a quick look on Google, shutting down the Nintendo app. The moment you come away from it shuts down. And we're like, and someone was saying it was single play, was a local only or randos, and then so we ended up playing a multiplayer game. But we played a multiplayer game, but it just kind of said, okay. So I said, right, I want to join Stuart's game. So I just said, all right, join Stuart's game. And then it just brought us into the game. But then we had to wait for a space in Stuart's game. And then when we were in the 4v4, you didn't know what team you were on. It was completely random. So you could be playing with Stuart or you could be playing against it, and it was just so frustrating. But in the end, we did find there is a shop on the right when you go into Inkopolis, and you can go in there and you can start the salmon run. Now, word of advice if you're going to play this is that you need to do the tutorial first. So you do the tutorial for the salmon run first, and then once you've done that, you can then. So Matt and I kind of got together and we filled the spaces with our two other people. And then we played, I think, about kind of 4 games of the salmon run, which when we were playing it, it's just so much fun. So it's almost like you have this level of frustration trying to get a game together, which we've solved with Discord. But you had this level of frustration, but the moment you went into the game, you're like, this game's amazing, and it was so much fun.
So what do you do in Salmon Run?
So Salmon Run is like Horde.
Okay.
So Salmon Run is like Horde. It's very short. I would love them to extend it a little bit more, because you have three waves of these kind of these fish are coming. These fish are coming, and every now and then there is a boss, and the bosses are quite easy to take out. And it's the same bosses, just kind of there's about, I think there must be about 6 bosses that are just on. And when you take down a boss, when you kill a boss, they spit out these little kind of orbs that you then have to take the orbs into the middle area, and the more of those you get, the more XP you get, and more special items that you get. So it's very much a race to get to the boss, kill the boss, get all the coins. You have to grab the coin, and then you have to then squid it back to the middle of the map where you can deposit them into a box, and then you just keep doing that. And there's like 3 waves of that, and then the game's over. And then you kind of can then do it again and just keep doing it again with like different maps. There's only about 3 maps. And the weird Nintendo, I won't even call it weird, the Nintendo thing that they have is that they shut down the salmon run. So the salmon run is only open, I think at the moment it's like every other day between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. It's just like Matt. I think Matt posted a picture the other day on Twitter, like yesterday, where he went up to the salmon run doors and it's shut. And there's like the gate, the store is shut, and the gate is pulled across it.
No salmon run for you.
No, salmon run is currently it's just bonkers. Imagine if that happened in Halo or Gears of War.
Yeah, no Horde tonight.
No Horde tonight. I'm
Play
sorry.
It tomorrow.
Yeah, and this is just like, so Salmon Run will be offline from this to this. And it's just bung. I mean, we had no problems.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's like, isn't Salmon Run included when you pay for your game?
Yeah.
You like think because it's a new mode, it's harder to argue it. But it's kind of like, I'm buying this game. It's got all these different modes. There's kind of an expectation there that I can play. I can play any of these modes whenever I want.
It's like Nintendo have got a little bit of OCD and they don't like leaving the servers on overnight. It's like, I'm going to bed now, so I'm going to turn the servers off.
Turn those blades down till tomorrow.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
it's bonkers how we can't just, like, at any point in time, I couldn't just jump in with 4 friends and just kind of play. Like I say, it took us a good part. I think I messaged everyone. I put a message on the thing saying, anyone fancy Splatoon? I think this must have been at about 10 o'clock. So Nicola and I finished watching something, and I said, right, anyone fancy a quick game? I've got an hour. I'm going to go to bed at 11. And I think by about 11:30, we were finally it was all clicking into place. And you have to be level 4 before you can go into the shop. So you have to play some of the either single player or multiplayer first. You have to get to level 4, then you have to go through the tutorial. Then once you've done that, you can then play Salmon Run with. You can then be invited into someone else's game.
Wow. But it's worth it.
But it's once you're in and you're playing, you have a ginormous grin on your face. You know, when we were playing 4v4, whether it was kind of like covering the map in paint or, you know, capture the flag, all of those kind of stuff, you know, having a giant roller, there's nothing that's more fun than having a giant roller and just kind of rolling over people.
Yeah.
And then
that's the best
single
weapon.
Exactly. The single player, I've been playing the single player like a lot and in kind of handheld mode, and that's great. You have a little map and there's 4 sections, and then you have to kind of go through the level, kind of freeing up these little things. Then you get 3 in the first one, and it opens up the next level, and then you just kind of go like that, and it looks stunning in handheld. Looks absolutely fantastic in the big screen as well. It's so bright. It's so colourful.
Yeah, I think that's why the Switch gets away with it. You know, with its lack of horsepower.
Yes,
it's because the games, like all the games that I'm loving at the moment, are very bright and colourful. Primary colours, simple, but wonderfully beautiful. And Splatoon kind of follows that same template, doesn't it? It's quite simple but striking, and with a great style, and it all marries up into something striking and good that everybody seems to enjoy to play and look at.
Absolutely. I mean, I rented this from Boomerang, but I've been playing it so much. And also Nicola's like, what's that? That looks quite fun. And I've told her that there's a single player part of it as well. And, you know, I'm so tempted to just contact Boomerang and buy it, because it is just, it's one of those games, it's kind of almost one of those games where I've done with all my other Switch games, where I quite like to have it digital. So even if I did keep it, I might give that to Nicola and then kind of download a copy, because it's just so much fun. Just always have that there, you know, always have that with you. Because I would imagine like playing that on a plane or something like that, just having a quick game of local Salmon Run or something like that would be just so much fun.
Can you play local Salmon Run whenever you want?
Yes, you can. Local Salmon Run is available. That's on the right hand side of Inkopolis, and that's available whenever you want. I think because it was open when I was there.
Okay. So you didn't like. Is Splatoon playable offline whenever you want, or is there some days when you can't play it?
No, I think
multiplayer. You try and load the game and it says, "Sorry, it's only Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays."
It's just I think the 4v4 and that sort of stuff. I think that's always available. It's a Salmon Run that they're.
Yeah. Why Salmon Run? Why?
I have no idea. They put a new mode into this game. You pay how much? £40 for it, and then there's a mode that's just not available.
It's the only mode, probably, or you'll be able to educate me if I'm wrong. It's like one of the only differentiators from Splatoon 1 to Splatoon 2 to give them the reason to add a 2 to the name and not just like Splatoon Switch or something. So it's like one of the only things that makes it different. And it's not always available. And maybe it's a temporary thing that it's not available now, but it's still Nintendo is the best word, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, like I say, it's like 3 levels. It probably took about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and we were playing it on Apprentice, so you can increase the difficulty as well. And I think if you had a group of people talking, using Discord, not the Nintendo app, I think you'll be good. You know, it'll be really cool to jump into. So it's like I say, I'm really enjoying it when I'm in, and the annoying part aside, it's just really good fun. So the first Splatoon, did that have like a single player as well?
You know something I can't remember. I think it may have done, but I'm not absolutely sure. So I couldn't say for definite. I didn't buy it. I just played the Splat Fest thing again, and I was like, yeah, it's pretty good, but I wasn't bothered about buying it. You know me and these multiplayer shooters, I'm not that bothered anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but this is just like it's a good fun. It really is good fun. Like I say, I'm really enjoying the single player and jumping in, kind of playing multiplayer. It was just fun. So it's really funny when you jump into Salmon Run. It actually says, communication is key, and I'm like, well, how can you do that, Nintendo? Because your app is just so bad. It was just so funny. So I've been playing Destiny 2, been playing Splatoon 2, and then I've been playing this brand new game that maybe no one's heard of, and I've jumped into Minecraft.
Wow, you popped your Minecraft cherry.
I have. I don't know if you remember, kind of a couple of months ago, I did play the demo one Sunday morning. But there'd been a lot of talk and kind of in the guys we game with, and lots of kind of like anyone fancy Minecraft, and I held back on the first one. But then on Friday night, it'd been a stressful week, and I was just like jumped in with Matt again, and also James, and so jumped in with the two Thomas brothers, and I basically just kind of jumped into their world, and it was just, do you know what? I had a really good time. I did not know that, because I was expecting that we'd go into Minecraft. When kind of I jumped into James's world, James was down in a cave somewhere, so he was off in a cave. Matt was Super Meat Boy, and I was like, this is bonkers. What am I doing here? And then I was like, right, what do I need to do? Do you want me to mine or anything? And then we kind of jumped across this open water, and we found this really swanky mansion house, which was really interesting. So we kind of jumped in to this mansion house, and it was full of just these grey things like zombies that were kind of taking us out, and it was also full of these like kind of creepers, or not creepers because they're the green things, aren't they?
Yeah.
But it was full of these mystic things that had like little kind of angels flying around, which would also take you out as well. And apologies for being so vague, but it's all new to me. But there was and so I ended up playing with Matt, and then we kept dying. So we went to the house that James and Matt had built, and I think Banny had also kind of jumped in as well. So we went to there, and we grabbed our beds, and we took our beds to this house. So we cleared the bottom level, and we took our beds to the house. So whenever we died, we just respawned behind the stairs.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of went through, and I ended up getting a rare achievement on Minecraft.
Well done, you.
No, it was just like one of my first achievements was a rare achievement, because we had this like little totem, we had this like little kind of thing that would give you an extra life, and I just beat someone with it, and then I died and then came back to life and got a rare achievement.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
So it was just like, it was really cool.
So you're playing survival then?
Yeah,
you must have been, because you can't die in creative. I'm presuming you'd be playing survival.
Well, I guess so. I mean, like the guys had been building, so they, like I say, they built a house with a very very cool house, and they built a house, and James was down in a cave, and they were kind of, I didn't go down the cave because he was just coming out as I got in the room, and so he was down in a cave, so they were doing that sort of stuff, and then we were like, oh, let's just go and have a look over there, so we all jumped over there, and then when we got there, we're like, oh, what's that over there? And it ended up being a house, so we just went through this house, like Matt and I, we kind of went through the house, and there was so much. Every other room just had this ginormous duck that was just in a room. There was just a ginormous duck, and it was really bizarre. And then we found there was a room that just had pumpkins, so I took all of those, and we got some really good weapons, and it was just a really cool little place. So Matt and I went through every single room, and we just took everyone out basically. We kind of cleared the room and got all of the stuff, and then that was it. And then that was us done for the evening. It was a good couple of hours in Minecraft, but I didn't know it was like that. I didn't know it was like that as a game.
It's like anything you want it to be, really. Yeah. It's amazing. I really love it. I love it. What brought it on then? What brought on gaming in Minecraft? Why?
I don't know. I think it's Manny's fault. I think it's friend of the show Manny's fault, because we were playing. What was we playing? We was playing something, Mario Kart, and then we just started talking about Minecraft while we were playing Mario Kart, and he was like, well, does anyone fancy jumping in next Sunday? And I didn't jump in. I think I was busy. I think Nicola and I were watching a movie, but then they were just kind of they kind of said like they had a good fun, and they just said, oh, jump in, anyone fancy it? And it was the Friday night. I'd had a stressful week, and I just had a beer, and I just thought, and Nicola was kind of she'd gone upstairs, and I just thought, do you know what, I'll do it. And I already had it downloaded on one of my Xboxes because I tried the demo, so I just bought it and jumped in. I just thought, do you know what, I'll have a look, and I'm intrigued by super duper graphics mode when that comes out.
Yeah.
So I thought I'll jump in.
And 4K mode when that comes out, and if you've got an Xbox One X.
Well, that's
which
the
is what you
graphics mode, isn't it? Yeah. So I thought, do you know what? I'll jump in, and then I'll just have a look, and then hopefully you can invite me into your world, and I can kind of check that out as well. And I just thought I'll jump in and just have a look and see, because it sounded like a good fun, and I had a really cool evening playing it.
Oh wow! Yeah, you'll have to come and see my world, man.
Yeah,
come and see my survival world that I did on my own, which I'm really quite proud of. But it's years since I sort of built it. I should really do some more. At the moment, I'm building a track from my main fortress to where the end portal is. Because what happened was Sam was playing my world in creative, and so using that world, he wanted to find out where the end portal was in my world, which is kind of cheating. But it'd be very difficult to find it without doing this. So we found in his mode where the end portal is in my world, and then I went on a journey, on a pilgrimage to find it in my world of survival. So in survival, in creative you can't die, in survival you can. So I loaded up with all my food and my weapons and stuff, and embarked to find this place. And I found it, and then I found where it was, and then I had to dig and explore this dungeon to find it. And eventually I found it, and it was proper like a maze. And then when I did find it, I sort of did breadcrumbs of torches so I could find it again, and then like hollowed it out and sort of made it a little bit better, made myself a camp there and a bed and stuff. And then I had made this decision that I wanted to make. It was because it's such a walk from where I started, from where I built my little town, and I had got my farm and stuff. I decided I wanted to have a minecart track from my place all the way to this place. But to make minecart, you need sort of like 12 iron and 3 wood or whatever, and iron's quite hard to find. So I started just chopping away, mining, pick, one more block, looking for iron to make this massive sort of railway over to this other area. And that's what I've been doing. But I'll have to show you. It's dead good. And then I can show you mine and Sam's creative mode as well that we've been doing since he's been a baby. That'd be really cool. And that's just massive. It's awesome. And we could build something. I could join in with you guys.
Absolutely, because like I say, the messages were happening. I was expecting you to kind of jump in and go, "I'll take you." But I had such a great time on Friday. It was really nice of Matt and James to kind of show me the exactly, show me the ropes. Complete noob. What do I do? Oh, I've made a hole in the house. It was that
it's quite complex to learn it.
It really is, and so it was. I mean, I'd done the tutorial before, like I say, on that Sunday morning. But I did find it quite therapeutic. It was quite nice, apart from when Matt and I were running around being killed by things. But it was just really good fun. It just was. It was a chuckle.
Yeah, I find it can make me jump quite a lot, which is strange because it just blocks. But like you say, it is really therapeutic. You just play it on your own. The music's really nice, and you decide. You think you just make your own mission up, and you're like I'm going to do this, so I need this stuff to do this, so I can do this. So you're there mining away. You might be getting rock, you might be looking for diamond, whatever it is, and you're just there going and mining away, and the music's really nice. You think you're safe, and all of a sudden you sort of hear this, and you're on edge because you can lose all your stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a great game. It's got so many layers you're joining in now, and it's sort of been refined, and refined. Since it was released in 2010. Did it come out of beta? But it was running in beta for ages as well, and it's just been refined so much. And then you're getting sort of the best version, and like you say, on the Xbox One X, you'll get super duper graphics as well.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's a very good game. I haven't played it for a while. I should switch it back on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was just, like I say, it was really cool. It was really cool. Like I say, James did an awesome job because he was like, right, here's some iron, here's that, make it yourself. Like, go over there, and he was like showing me the ropes. You know, he's kind of used to it from showing people how to play Sea of Thieves. I think he was like, right, go over there, and he was taking me through it, and he was just like giving me that tutorial. And it was just really cool to then have a sword. I had a sword and a pickaxe. I thought, right, okay, I'm ready to take on this world now. And and I was like, oh, there's a llama, and they're like, leave the llama alone, go away. And it was really good fun. It was just a right chuckle.
Oh, demon. I'm so glad you played it, mate. That's awesome.
Yes. So there you go. So it's there. I want to play more. I want to kind of jump in and do more. But it was really good fun. So time for the news section. But before we start the news section, as it's episode 100, don't forget you can rate, review, and subscribe to this very podcast for free over on iTunes. So pop by and give us a review. It would help us kind of get noticed on the iTunes chart. So let's start the news section. And in this week's news section, Telltale are making us happy with new announcements. PokeFest happened. I think that's all we can say. And we have new Xbox Games of Gold for August. But the first piece of news, Daz, is with you.
It is. First of all, I've remembered another Kingdom Hearts fact. Don't worry, I won't be doing this all the way through the news. I just remembered one. Did you know that Kingdom Hearts, the original, was the last game from Squaresoft? So it was the last game to actually have Squaresoft as the developer on the box.
Wow.
Stroke
now
publisher.
It's Square Enix.
Because now it's Square Enix, yeah. So that was the very last game to do that. And apparently, if you've got an original that actually says Squaresoft on it, because every remaster since the original said Square Enix, right, could be worth a bit of money. So there you go. Little fact. But anyway, the first piece of news is with me, and that is about the Pokemon Go Fest delivering disappointment in droves in Chicago and around the world. So Pokemon Go Fest was in Chicago. That was like the main hub of it. And This was a big festival. Loads of Pokemon Go fans go in. They were supposed to be able to catch rare Pokemon, do unique games that you'd only be able to play if you were at the festival. And thousands of people turned up in Chicago to celebrate this festival. Some travelling from not just all over America, but from other countries as well. Such is the passion to play Pokemon Go and join this festival. Like Minecon or anything, any passionate event where you've got a passionate community. Anyway, servers didn't work.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the app didn't work. Servers were down. No connectivity.
Oh, my God. What was it, because of the traffic from this Pokemon Go Fest, or
I'm not
did
sure.
they just have problems?
I bet it's traffic. I mean, we don't know, but I'm imagining. I bet it's just a bandwidth issue, bottleneck. But remember the other week I gave you that little snippet of information that Niantic made something like in the first year enough to exist as a studio for the next 10 years because they made that much money.
Yeah.
So if that is the case, how could they let the infrastructure fail them?
Yeah.
Because wouldn't you just spend all the money you could? Well, not all the money you could, but you would want
all the money you should.
All the money you should is a much better word. Thank you for that. On your infrastructure for something that relies on bandwidth, unless it was an impossibility. And if it was an impossibility, go and find a venue where it is possible. Stress test it. Because what they ended up getting is just thousands of people, as you can imagine, really upset and annoyed. The CEO came on stage, the CEO of Niantic. There was a section where he comes on stage, presumably to say, "Yay, Pokemon Go!" and he got booed off.
Oh.
And in the end, the organisers they had to refund everybody the $10 entry fee, and they gave everybody $100 worth of poker coins, which is quite a lot of poker coins.
Right.
But it's not about that, is it? It's wasting a day, and for some people, more than a day with travel and crossing seas and stuff to catch that rare Pokemon. I think there were some legendaries that were only going to be there. So it was a disappointing day.
It didn't happen at all. They didn't even kind of get it for a couple of hours. It just didn't happen at all. It was a complete washout. Oh my God, that is just so terrible.
Yeah, and apparently the outage was worldwide. So maybe it was something. Maybe I don't know how that. I don't know how it. Maybe it was just a unlucky server blip.
Yeah,
I really don't know, because there must have been something at the central hub for it to be worldwide. So there was all other events being orchestrated around the world as well. Chicago was the main one, but there was all different events happening around the world. There was one in Chester in our country, but all the events were affected.
That is just terrible. That is absolutely terrible.
And it's like, it's just weird, because they had such an appalling service when it started to roll out because of numbers. I just thought that it would never happen again because of lessons learned. And it's just surprising that, it's all working fine. Admittedly, it's probably working fine because they've had a dip in numbers. But they've got lots of money to spend on that, and that's what they've been busy doing. I think that's why a lot of things got delayed, is because they were working on just getting the app working properly. And surely that's the number one thing, isn't it? Make sure your game or your app or whatever works, because that's the important thing. And then they have this big thing, garnering interest, got thousands of people to come along to this convention or festival, and boom, it don't work. It's really sad. So it was supposed to be sort of the start of a regular thing.
Right.
So if they're going to do it regularly, they've obviously got some lessons to learn and some things to think about. So that's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because they've just brought out an update, haven't they, with raids and things, as you were saying, you and Sam were doing that. So you think that this looks like it's scheduled right. It's like, okay, we'll put the update out, give the update a couple of weeks to bed in, we'll be good to go for Pokemon Go Fest, and then it looks like I say, their failover or something just didn't happen.
Yeah.
On Saturday.
Yeah, such a pity. So yeah, if they do it again, best I can say is that they'll have data to have a look at to make sure it doesn't happen again, and fingers crossed for the next one, and hopefully the customers won't be so disappointed.
Poor sods. Right, next piece of news is with me, and it's great news that the last year's kind of smash co-op marriage testing cook 'em up, which is Overcooked, which we all loved, we all played a lot. So last year, we did with Overcooked is coming to the Switch. So as this pod airs, it will be available on the Nintendo eShop. So it looks like this is going to be a digital only download. Doesn't look like it's going to be a physical copy of it. But Overcooked is coming to the Switch on July 27th. So this is Overcooked, the special edition. So that's the special edition that includes the festive seasoning add-on, the Lost Morsel, as well as all of the different players that you can play as that came out with those different DLC packs. This is $19.99, and it's going to be about $16.99 in the UK. Includes
That's good. That's fair.
Yeah, it's not too bad at all. So it's 44 campaign levels. It's going to be up to 4 players on the Switch. Co-op, obviously all couch co-op. There's no online play. And yeah, so it's going to be available kind of this week. So it's actually going to be coming out this week. So I told Nicola, foolishly, she was like, oh, let's play it again on the Switch. So it looks like we're going to be jumping back into Overcooked. So I'm going to be shouted at again.
But did you see that Steam stat that since Overcooked came out, there'd been a rise in divorce rates by 3%.
That's so funny. I'm not surprised.
It's lies, though. I just made it up. But it'd be funny, though. It'd be funny, wouldn't it?
That would be awesome.
It's the stat's real. It's just that nobody's actually done the study. I reckon it's real, though.
Yeah, so you can, as per kind of the Xbox and PlayStation 4, you can play the campaign mode in both solo and local co-op. And like I say, it's going to be available later this week. Wow.
Does it allow hooking up 2 Switches?
Don't know. It just says 44 levels that can be played solo or couch co-op with up to 4 players.
Probably
9 versus levels for players to go head to head locally with either 2 to 4 players. So maybe that will allow you to hook up multiple Switches.
Either that, or you just need 2 sets of Joy-Cons, I suppose. But that's good. It's good that it comes to Switch, and I'm glad to see it's come at a fair price, because some Switch ports are quite inflated, but then the could be, I mean, we covered this before, it could be because it's digital only, so they don't have to match the cost of the cartridge. So there we go. Yeah,
so that's really cool. So that's going to be out probably as you'll listen to this right now.
Brilliant. What fun. Enjoy, Anthony.
Did you finish it?
No.
You finish? Oh, right.
Not good enough.
Wow.
I think it was the one where the lights went off.
Right.
And we got stuck, but we haven't played it enough in fairness, but that's because the PC travels from room to room.
Yes.
That's the thing about buying it. For me, for buying it on my PC, because my PC, sometimes it's in the VR room, if you like, sometimes it's in the lounge, and it's just not as convenient as it being on a console, because it's or on the Switch where it's always there. Really love it, but yeah, that's it. It's just that it's on a PC that moves about, so that's the reason I haven't played it enough. But I've still got it and still love it. Might end up buying it on Switch as well, just so I've got it always there.
Yeah, so you got it on the big TV without lugging in the PC.
Yeah, absolutely.
So next piece of news, sir, is with you.
It is. So I've got a question. What have Sports Direct and Game got in common? Game being our British premier game shop, I suppose you could call it, and Sports Direct being one of the UK's biggest trainers and tracksuit and sporting goods shops. What have they got in common? Well, the owner of Sports Direct has got they've got in common now, because Sports Direct's billionaire owner has bought a 25% stake in Game Digital.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's called Mike Ashley. He's the owner of Sports Direct. He's bought into a few other retail chains as well. It seems this is a thing he does. He's got his hands on Debenhams. He's got investments with Debenhams and French Connection as well. And people are thinking the reason that he wants to get his hooks into game is something to do with him wanting to get into esports.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know, because Game aren't really an esports shop, but maybe it's just something about getting esports onto the high street, some idea he's got, I'm not sure. There's also speculation, apparently, that he may be looking to buy the whole of Game.
Right.
This could be a prelude to buying the whole of Game as well. So that would be interesting. I mean, Game have been in trouble before. Last time I looked at their share price, it was like 33p a share or something. So I think they've been on rocky ground for a while. Maybe this will help. I mean, if this guy can just assimilate them, if it comes to, if Game do go under and he could just snap them up, maybe that means that Game would survive. What that means for the customer, I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, it's strange because there's no real affiliation, is there, between the clothes shop and Game? But maybe he just sees, maybe he's got an idea to take Game in a different direction, and if he has, every credit to him, because we talked about it before. I think inevitably these kind of bricks and mortar game shops are kind of going to find it harder and harder to exist with the increase in digital purchases. I don't think a shop can stand on hardware alone. Really, I don't think that's going to happen. But maybe he's got a different idea. Maybe he's going to turn them all into like e-sport outlets where you go in and sort of play up the ranks in the shop or something. Really, like an arcade almost. I really don't know. That's just speculation on the top of my head. But yeah, he's bought in. Now that was a little while ago. Now it's probably about a week ago. So I wonder if I can have a look at Game shares and see what they're valued at since this purchase has been made. Are you a financial guy? Can you find that out quickly, or is it something I can just look at? I'm not used to shares, not used to big investments and stuff. Game share value. I will type into Google. Let's see if we get them. See if we can find something out. Oh, Game Digital. 26.88p, I think that is. So they've gone down since I last looked. Right, so looks like that doesn't look like it's helped. As they're at 26.88 pence. I think that it's not going to be 26.88 pounds, is it?
No, it's going to be pence.
So since I looked, it's gone down a bit. So it doesn't sound a lot. It doesn't sound a lot for a share, does it?
No.
Now, if we just look at this, on December the 31st, 2014, they were at the highest in 5 years. They were at £3.60. And since then, they've steadily declined. Up till present day when they are actually at The lowest was on July the 7th. That was probably just before this purchase, maybe. They were at 20p. And today they're at 26.88p. So, I don't know if games... Whether or not this guy's invested, I'm not sure if they're going to last for much longer. But we'll see what happens. I'm sorry to deliver such pessimistic news.
No, I mean, it's quite interesting because Game did actually, I think last year they opened their Belong stores, didn't they? Which is flagship stores throughout the UK, which were all focused very much on competitive gaming. So they kind of, you could still buy, you could still buy a Switch in there, but there was levels where you could go and you could set it up and you could hire it for tournaments and things like that. And they've got a big one in London. It looked quite cool. So whether that was the kind of the start of something, and that was the kind of
maybe that's what he's interested in. Yeah, maybe that's what that he sees, and he thought maybe because they're so cheap, I can buy these and then turn it around.
Yeah,
to that sort of thing. Maybe that's it, but we'll see. We'll see. It's early days. I think that investment was only a few days ago. But that's a quarter share, so we'll see. Things might be changing for Game. We'll see what happens, good or bad. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Right, the next piece of news is with me, and that is that Telltale have announced not one, not two, but 3 new games. So just before San Diego Comic-Con this weekend, Telltale announced that they're going to be bringing new episodes of 3 of their existing franchises, and they're all going to be coming to obviously Xbox and Switch and PlayStation 4, etc. All of the devices, because they somehow managed to squeeze these onto iPads and fridges as well. So what we're going to get, so it's announced that we are going to get a brand new Batman game. So the Batman game, which was, we had a Telltale Batman series last year that was okay. We had 4 out of 5 of the episodes were absolutely superb. It was good to see their kind of take on Batman, because it was a slight different take on Batman. So we're going to get Batman. It's called The Enemy Within, and the first chapter for that is actually set to arrive on August the 5th. So we're only kind of a couple of weeks and change away from getting a brand new Batman game. So which was absolutely fantastic. So that is Batman Enemy Within. I'm going to be downloading that straight away. So that's kind of Batman. And then the other 2 that they announced was, we got Walking Dead, and what they said, they're going to actually wrap up The Walking Dead. So we're going to have Walking Dead, which is going to be the final season of The Walking Dead. So we've got the last and final season of The Walking Dead. No doubt it's going to kind of wrap up Clementine's story, probably, because Clementine wasn't highly focused or wasn't part of the kind of primary focus of the last game, The New Frontier, but she was there, but she wasn't the kind of one of the main playable protagonists. So we got Walking Dead, the final season of Walking Dead, and then kind of almost the best news, even beating Batman, is the fact that we are going to get a new Wolf Among Us game, and I just cannot wait for this. They did a really cool, I'll stick a link in the show notes. They did a really cool trailer for the new Wolf Among Us, and it was basically all of the voice actors and some of the devs as well just reading tweets from people. So it was a bit like the Jimmy Fallon kind of bad tweets that people say about celebrities, where there was lots of people saying like, where is Wolf Among Us 2? I'm going to tweet to you every day until you kind of do it. And it was all that, but they had Adam Harrington, who has possibly one of the best voices. He voiced Big B, and so he was just like reading out some of these tweets, which was really cool. And then they just kind of announced that they're going to be making the second Wolf Among Us. So both Wolf Among Us and also Walking Dead are both coming out in 2018. So we do have a bit of a wait for those. They're going to be next year, but we're going to get Batman coming this year. So what do you think it does? Are you excited about any of those?
Yeah, I'm excited about them, but I've got this Telltale backlog of shame. I haven't earned the right to get excited or even play these or even get excited about them, because I've got to play Wolf Among Us and I've got to play Walking Dead, and I've got them there. And it's really awful to have to admit it, but I haven't played them yet. Played the demo of Wolf Among Us, really loved it. Got the game waiting, and Walking Dead episode 1 completed, loved it. Just didn't get around to that. And you're thinking, how have you not done it? It's inexcusable. I ain't got a good answer. It's just there's always been something else.
What about Game of Thrones? Have you played that?
No, I haven't played Game of Thrones, actually.
But you downloaded it when it was free, I guess.
Yeah. So it's added to this. I've got a Telltale backlog. I got it's quite an enjoyable stint to look forward to, really. I could just put aside some time and go through these games. So yeah, I love it that they keep coming out. I love it that Telltale are really successful and they've found this niche that they do so well. But unfortunately, I don't get to enjoy it because I never find time to play the blooming games. But I will, and I have a number of them there. If they're not downloaded, they're in the cloud, ready for me to play.
Right.
So yeah, I'm ashamed, mate. If I'm honest, I'm sorry. Every time we bring it up, I'm like, yes, I know they're really good, and I haven't played them. And I loved I love the demo of Wolf Among Us.
Well, it's really cool because you're getting a lot of these for free, aren't you?
Yeah, that's my strategy. I'm just going to wait. It's a waiting game for me. They'll get bored of it before I do. I just wait for decades and then get them for free. But yeah, and I loved episode 1 of Walking Dead. And I know that I'd like that because I know that it's really harrowing and emotional and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So I just need to pick myself up a bit and get on it. So I will do. But yeah, it's. And just the fact that they keep coming as well, it's a seal of quality, isn't it? They wouldn't be making them if they weren't good.
No, absolutely. They definitely do sell. I mean, it's really interesting. I mean, we have had a refresh of the engine recently, so which is, it still chugs every now and then, but they are, hopefully, for the ones that are coming out in 2018, which is Wolf Among Us and the Last Walking Dead, hopefully maybe we might even get kind of a newer engine, maybe get some updates on that, just to really kind of stop it, because I think Batman crashed a lot on the PS4. I had problems with Borderlands, which is an awesome Telltale game, but I had problems with that. And then obviously on top of all of this, we've also got Guardians of the Galaxy as well. So Guardians of the Galaxy is still in the mix. We're only on episode 3 of Guardians of the Galaxy, so we've still got that. So I guess at some point they're probably going to be flip-flopping between Guardians and Batman now, if the first episode of Batman comes out on the 5th of August.
Yeah, it's terrible to hear about the clunkiness, on this generation. It's like, where's the excuse? This is not like mind-blowing graphics. These are, I'm not saying they're poor. It's a good style. It's an effective style, isn't it? But it's not something that you would imagine couldn't be made to run smoothly and elegantly without a hitch. You could sort of let it go on to the 360, but then it's carrying on into this generation, and it's carried on, even like you say on the tweaked engine that they've got. I just hope, we're stuck with that this generation. Well, I say this generation, but I'm going to add inexcusable on Xbox One X, inexcusable on PS4, Xbox One, really.
But I think these problems still happen on the PC, running in Ultimate mode, running in 4K. I think you still get problems. The Batman, IGN were playing Batman on the PC, and they even had some problems there. So where I had one bit where I was loading it in, and the voice, the speech was just happening, and it wasn't matching the game. There were bits in Borderlands where I had to restart, and you had a crash, and so it really is. It's a shame, but the games are just, again, it's kind of a bit like Splatoon. You kind of almost give it a bit of a pass because the games are great. Yeah. But I did, when we started getting games that was like the new games, you did think, right, okay, Borderlands and Game of Thrones, these could be good, and then they had kind of a few quirks. It's got better. I must admit, the last Walking Dead, and like I say, I only had a few glitches on Batman, but they are getting better, and that's what I'm saying. Hopefully 2018, maybe the reason why they've put those two kind of really big franchises for them, because Wolf Among Us is a huge thing for them. It's got a huge cult following, and also everyone loves Walking Dead, and you wouldn't want to finish that on a low. So maybe they are taking that time between then and now to kind of update or refresh the engine.
Hopefully. It seems like a slow process, but they're busy guys because they're always working on a new thing, aren't they?
Absolutely. They've probably got another couple that they're making that they haven't even announced yet. That's kind of that studio. But, I can't wait for these. To have 3, I mean, when they said, because they actually tweeted out to say that they were announcing something at San Diego, and I was like, it's got to be something comic book related. So instantly I went to maybe Walking Dead, but I didn't in my wildest dreams think that we would get Walking Dead, Batman, and Wolf Among Us, because the Fables, which Wolf Among Us comes from, is just such a fantastic comic book and graphic novels that just to get more of those stories, more Bigby stories, more tales from the Fables, it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait. It's just so exciting.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
I just want more. I want them to just keep going. Make a Justice League. Because I do like the art style. I'm not the one thing when you were talking about when you've got loads in your backlog. I wonder how they would play if you went like Walking Dead season 1, Walking Dead season 2, Wolf Among Us. I wonder if you would get Telltale fatigue if you back them up like that.
I don't know. Maybe I'll try it.
Yeah. Do that experiment for me and report back.
I will. That's my next week and a bit sorted out. I'll just do that. They are like a production line. They just keep bringing out these game after game after game, which is great. I'm really glad they're so. I like them because they're different. I haven't really played them to give that much of a judgment on them, but I like the idea of it. I like that sort of. It seems like sort of an almost modern day point and click. That's what Walking Dead seemed like anyway, and I liked it, but with extra emotional engagement.
Absolutely, that's exactly what all of these are like. They are just that modern day point and click. I mean, as I said before on the podcast, I messed Game of Thrones up big time. Everyone was dead. I tried to be characters in there, and I was like, I'm going to do this when I am Atlanta, and I just really tried, and I messed it up big time. So my consequences for that game were just terrible. I mean, in some of them you can kind of see them where they kind of branch out, but they come back to that main storyline. But I think in Game of Thrones, I just everyone died, dude. They were just all kind of done for. But it was just that really made me laugh and respect the engine even more. Even though I just kind of played the Game of Thrones really badly.
Yeah, but at least you were allowed to fail.
Yes, exactly. I kind of got to a point, but there was no one else around with me, and it was just really interesting, and I did like that. And I didn't play it to do that, I wasn't trying to be bad or anything like that, but I kind of embraced two characters, and I was standing by my principles. But my principles just got everybody killed. So I was just like, oh, it's so terrible. But yeah, though, I absolutely love Telltale games, and these ones are going to be awesome.
Yeah, no sign of them stopping.
Indeed.
Cool. Well, the next piece of news is with myself, and that is Jim Ryan has gone on record to say PS2 style 13-year life cycles are a thing of the past. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'll leave up to yourselves to consider. But this is in an interview he did with Edge magazine in the September edition for 2017. And I think that's been printed on the internet webs by WCCF Tech. Now, he was asked the question in this interview of if there might be further PS4 Pro / Xbox One X type hardware refreshes during this generation, which is an interesting question. He replied, it's funny, it's a very interesting question. Yeah, well, we obviously think the same. So he said, it's an interesting question. The cultural phenomenon of regular updates to smartphones and tablets, we've talked about this loads, haven't we, Anthony, is without question perhaps subliminally colouring mindsets, and the days of a 13-year PS2 cycle will almost certainly never repeat itself. But equally, a platform is a very delicate ecosystem, and if that platform is to succeed, you've got to give those who make content for it the chance to recoup on it. It's fair enough, isn't it? You can't keep doing stuff. At the end of the day, like it or not, these are businesses, and that's a fair point as well. I always try and balance the fanboy in me, the one that wants the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and all the rest of it, with the consumer in me, and as well as the business. It's like a triangle, isn't it, really? Anyway, sorry. So he continued, we struck, and Microsoft has as well, a good balance of innovation within the confines of the platform. Also, services which operate agnostically of the particular hardware, for instance PlayStation Now, are something you're going to see more of. That's an interesting point. And yet I think we're only 6 months into PS4 Pro, and it's too early to tell. The Xbox One X hasn't launched yet, so we don't know if this is the way forward or not. So it sounds like, the jury's out on these. We're gonna see what the public's response is. If everybody buys the PS, if the PS4 Pro sells by the bucket load, if the Xbox One X sells by the bucket load, then what you're telling the businesses, you're saying, we like this idea, so they'll probably do more of it, because they think, well, we can make money without having to make such a drastic jump that we usually would. There's a little bit of extra information here. In 2016, Shuhei Yoshida said that the PS4's life cycle wouldn't be shortened by the PS4 Pro. I actually would... That's good that it wouldn't be shortened, because you'd feel shortchanged, wouldn't you? Anyone with the PS4 standard would feel shortchanged. But what I would hope is that it would lengthen it in a way. I quite liked and like a long life cycle, really. I'd kind of be happy if we didn't have these mid-refreshes and everything sort of sat on the same platforms for maybe not 13 years like the PS2, but certainly 7 years, say, like a 360, 6-7 years, like the 360. And I like that, because you really see the developers getting the power out of the console, don't you? They get to know the hardware. And when things are renewed and refreshed too early, I just think that it's the developers are like starting from scratch again, learning again. 4 years, new console. It's like, okay, well, there is a jump there, but it's going to take us probably 4 years to get to grips with it. But by the time 4 years is out, we're going to be developing towards the one after that. So you're never going to see the true fire, if you like, the true potential of your console. So I quite like the idea of a longer life cycle, but I know that doesn't help the businesses, because once their sales start to flatline, they want you to be looking to the next thing, don't they?
Yes.
But it's nice that Jim Ryan says there that he equally understands that they need to have a life cycle long enough for the guys that are creating the content to be able to make some money on the back of it as well as them. I mean, obviously, there's got to be an understanding there. There's a symbiosis there, isn't there? That's the way the business works. Andrew House said in 2014 that he hopes the PlayStation 4's life cycle is longer than the PlayStation 3's, but he wasn't sure if it would match PS2's. But, things said in 2014, well, it doesn't really matter, does it, in these days? In these days of mid-generation... It's not. See, we don't just get a new style of console now with an extra HDMI port. It's a proper bump, isn't it? You're getting like 50% extra power and stuff like that. So I thought it was interesting. I think the fact that 13-year-old life, 13-year-long life cycles are a thing of the past. I think we've all come to realise that. But Mr. Ryan's gone on record and told it from Sony's point of view, and I think some of the points that he makes there are quite interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's. I'm going to have a read of that article or that interview. Actually, have you seen the front cover of that issue of Edge? It's the Mario Odyssey one. There's 4 covers, and the main cover has the T-Rex with a hat and a moustache.
Oh, demon!
It's awesome. They have others. They have others with hats and moustaches, but the one with the T-Rex is absolutely superb. But yeah, though, he kind of makes really good points. I mean, 13 years is quite a long time to kind of like stay on that same level of tech, especially when you have like PC will be constantly kind of moving forward. But I'm happy, I'm happy for a nice long life cycle if we get these mid-generation refreshes. I quite like this. I quite like the fact that I've got my PS4 Pro and where is my Xbox One X pre-order? That's what I want to know. When are we going to be able to pre-order? They just... Yeah. I've kind of, I think Phil Spencer said it's coming soon. We're just kind of finalising the deals and finalising all of the everything we need to do before we can do the pre-order. But you would expect that to be there before the announcement, wouldn't you? It was like, right, go and pre-order it now. But I check Amazon on a daily basis to just see if it's up there yet, because I'm desperate to get something like that. Because as we've always said, we're advocates of 4K. We both had 4K TVs way back when. And we just more stuff that we can have under our TVs, the better. And the Xbox One X is just definitely something that's very sexy. But I hope that that does actually, I think as you were saying, it does lengthen the life cycle, because not everyone is that kind of tech savvy or wants the newest, shiniest thing. But by doing that mid-refresh, it keeps the likes of you and I happy. But it's the same game little Johnny's got, so he doesn't have to get a new Xbox every Christmas.
Yeah, or you could argue that it just annoys everyone because we don't get the full potential of what we could have. I'm just being devil's advocate here. And little Johnny's annoyed because he wants the next best thing and he can't have it. He knows he's on the rubbish machine and he's not getting it as good as we're getting it, but we're annoyed because we've got 4K TVs and we don't want it held back by little Johnny. Little Johnny's annoyed because he doesn't want to be on the old system. But little Johnny's more grateful than we are.
But if you think about it, when I fire my Xbox One X up and I fire up Forza and I fire up Crackdown or Gears of War 4 and I'm playing native 4K 60 frames a second in HDR, I'm happy with that. That makes me a very happy consumer.
Yeah, definitely. And I
don't feel that I'm playing a game that's being held back. I feel that I'm playing a game that is just like that's as good as it can be right now.
I'm feeling that with Kingdom Hearts, and that's from 2002.
Exactly,
it's amazing, man. What they've done with that, it's spectacular. Sorry to bang on about it, but it's unbelievable in 4K, 60 frames per second. It's just where's the HDR?
Yes, exactly. But that's it. I mean, like when we were playing Forza and Gears and Halo, Manny, who was able to run 4K, he was always saying about kind of like 4K, and he showed me some clips of what Forza looks like, and it never made me feel bad that I was running it on my console because it was the ease of getting it running on my console. But at the same time, I was like, oh yeah, I want that, and that's what I'm going to get. I'm going to be able to invest and be able to get that kind of next gen experience on the Xbox One X.
Yeah, I think it can be argued all sorts of different ways, and I like the debate. I really do. And we'll see where it goes.
It's almost like we get It's almost like we get a fanboy debate within the same console, isn't it? It's like whether Xbox One S or Xbox One X is the better console.
Yeah, I mean, which the better console. I suppose then you argue about what's the most value. Which one gives you the most value, and then it just depends. It's kind of like, well, then it depends what you've got, because if you haven't got a 4K TV, then the Xbox One X offers less value. But if you're splashed out on a 4K TV, then the Xbox One X offers more value. So there's loads of different random variables going on in it, isn't there? I was in Smith's the other day, the toy shop, and I asked the guy about pre-orders for Xbox One X. He said, yeah, well, we'll be taking them, but we're not doing them yet. I don't know when we'll be doing them. To which I replied, oh, okay.
I reckon Gamescom. I reckon at Gamescom, Microsoft have already made a noise that AC Bongos is going to be, so Graham Boyd is going to be on stage. They're doing a little bit of an event at Gamescom, which is going to be on Mixer. So I reckon that's when we're going to get it. I reckon this time next month, because Gamescom is about the 22nd of August, so this time next month, I reckon we'd have pre-ordered our Xbox One X.
Wow, I look forward to that.
Because it's got to be. They've got to make another splash about it. They've got to make a noise. So Gamescom is the next big event. Do it there.
Yeah, brilliant. I look forward to that. I'm just marking that in my calendar right now.
Don't worry. As soon as I've pre-ordered, you'll be as soon as I see that up, I'll probably tell you and everyone else before I even pre-order myself.
I was just the way you phrased that. Then was so funny. It's like as soon as I've bagged mine, I'll be letting you all know.
Yeah, as soon as I have pre-ordered mine. Well, the great thing about Amazon, it's one click, so it will take me a fingerprint, and I've pre-ordered my Xbox One X, and then I'll tweet or send a message to the group and then tweet it out. They're available, but once I've got mine,
I've got mine. Go and try your luck.
So next piece of these is me, still kind of with Microsoft. We kind of transitioned into Microsoft there, and it's the free games. So free games for Gold with August have been announced. So just as we were about to pod, Major Nelson popped it up on his blog, what the free games for Gold will be this August. And so what we have is Slime Rancher. So Slime Rancher is going to be available from the 1st to the 31st of August. So this looks like it's a game that's been in game preview. When you kind of go to that area, it's been in kind of game preview for a while, but now you'll be able to get it for free. It's normally $19.99, but it's going to be free from the 1st to the 31st of August. So it looks interesting. It's like a first person. You kind of mine and farm slimes and stuff like that. I might give it a try. I've always kind of seen it. My nephew Ed, he's a big fan of it. He likes playing it. He says it's really fun. So I might give that a try.
Okay, yeah, I must admit I've not heard of it, so I'll be interested to have a look at that.
So, and then we have August 16th to August 15th. We have Trials Fusion on Xbox One X. Oh, Xbox One, not Xbox One X yet.
Xbox One X as well. When
it could be. It could be announced by that time. So on Trials Fusion, that will be available from the 16th of August to the 15th of September.
That's a good game, that. Very challenging, very addictive. You know, you're challenged to do the course, and the thing I love about it is as soon as you die, you just press X and you're at the start again, straight away. No transition. So it's very much one of those, I'll just try again. Yeah. I'll just try again. And a 30-second course takes you till 1 a.m. in the morning, and you're just trying to beat your score, or just,
and everyone
just
else's as well, because you can instantly see people's shadows, can't you? Like shadow runs, it's like, Darren is this far in front of you, and it will show you just pulling away on a jump, but you're like,
the physics are really great as well, the way that you control that bike. It's a good game.
Good game. If you've never bagged it, or if you've never played it before, then bag it on kind of Games with Gold for August. And then over on Xbox 360, but playable on Xbox One via backwards compatibility, we have Bayonetta.
Wow.
So we were talking about this on the last pod, the fact that it might be coming to the Switch, and Bayonetta is going to be from the August 1st to August 15th.
Brilliant game. If you haven't got it, get it.
Yeah, I might get it and just have a play, because I don't think I've ever played a Bayonetta game, so I might just kind of have a quick go.
I hate the story, but I love the. If I had my way, I'd kind of cut out all of the story, all the cutscenes. I haven't really got a clue what's going on. It's all a bit. I suppose it's maybe you could argue it's lovable Sega nonsense, but that gameplay, I love that flowing combo beat 'em up gameplay. It's really twitchy. It's really responsive. It's really satisfying. Bit of a learning curve. Because it's weird, because I would liken it to Devil May Cry, but I've never really got into Devil May Cry games.
Right.
But Bayonetta, I really got into. And when you or when you start to perfect it, when it starts to click, and you're doing a combo, and you use your dodge move at the right time, which then slows everything down so you can really pummel the enemies, and then it comes back and you're just in the flow, you feel indestructible. And it's all about the skill, and the control's so tight that you can completely dominate as long as you don't blink, and focus. And it's just really satisfying. Really great fighting mechanics in there. Really like it. Great, loads of different combos, bonkers set pieces. Bayonetta's great. Wonder if we'll get a new Bayonetta on Switch.
Yes, well, I think we'll probably get 1 and 2 first on Switch, and then maybe a new one.
And maybe, yeah, they'll say if everybody buys this again, well, then we'll get Bayonetta 3.
And then rounding up the free games for August, we have Red Faction Armageddon. So that's on Xbox 360 with backwards compatibility. And that was really cool, actually. I quite enjoyed. I think it's Red Faction. Is that the one where you can just destroy all of the buildings and stuff? You have kind of hammers.
Red Faction was when that came out, that was its USP, wasn't it? That they had destructible environments that we've never seen before.
And that was really cool.
And this, I don't think this is one that's after the original, obviously. So yeah, it could be fun for a mess about. The good thing these days is, the 360 games are good enough that you download them on the Xbox One, and they're still pleasing on the eye, aren't they?
They are indeed. You can just jump in, have a play around with them, and see what they're like. Yeah, indeed. So Red Faction, Armageddon, and Bayonetta are the Xbox 360. So that's our games with gold.
Awesome. What would you give the games with gold? What grade? We gave them both a grade last month. See, I forgot. It doesn't matter what they were, but I can't remember.
I kind of think there's some great games in there, but for me, this is a bit of a weak month. I kind of see, there's some great games in there. Slime Rancher, like I say, my nephew thinks it's fun. Trials Fusion, I've stunk a lot of time into. I played a lot of Red Faction, but I give it a low grade for me because I've played those games. So for me, there's not much in there, but there's some great games. So I guess I should see it more objectively. And where you were waxing lyrical with Bayonetta, that sounds like cool. So it's a good solid 7, isn't it?
Yeah. For me, it's all about Bayonetta. Never played Slime Rancher, don't know anything about it. Trials is pretty cool, but I wouldn't, queue up for it or anything. Red Faction, I'm a bit like, So, yeah. For me, it could just be Bayonetta, which I've played, but because it's so good, it brings it up. So, I don't know. I think I'll give it a C+.
Awesome.
Excellent. Which is about a 7, isn't it?
Yeah. Excellent stuff. The last piece of news is with you.
It's Quick News Corner. Thank you. Right, so this is, as you can tell by the name, I'm going to give you some news. I'm going to give you quite quick. Can't really fit the corner into that, but there we go. So first of all, PlayStation 4 has opened beta registration for the next system update. If you want to sign up, they're accepting sign-ups over at the PlayStation blog. You can sign up and get involved with the next update that they're going to do ahead of time. If it's something if you're a bit nervous about but you wouldn't mind trying, they do say that if you want to opt out, you can have the option to roll back to the previous update if you're not happy, so that's quite nice. We don't know what's going to be included at the moment. It's going to be shared closer to the start of the trial, which is in early August.
Right.
So that's what we've got at the moment. They've opened up the sign up. If you're interested, you can do it, but at the moment we don't know what new features we're going to have. We'll put a link to the sign up page on the podcast page on the show notes, because why not? I don't know whether I will or not, to be honest. Might be, might not. Why are you chuckling at that?
I'm just you're just debating yourself in your brain right now.
I don't know.
Yes, we'll stick a link to the beta sign up, because one of the great things about the beta sign up this time is there's actually an opt-in to all future betas. So what they normally do is when they do 2, 2.5, 3, and now 4, is they've always kind of, you have to sign up individually, where they actually now have a checkbox where you can actually say, actually include me in all of them going forward.
Okay.
So that's quite cool. That's really good.
Yeah, I'm just a bit hesitant after my that beta I did on the Xbox One with it messed up. Rock Band didn't work. Do you remember that ages ago? And so ever since then, I've been a bit more hesitant.
Let me just say, Lost Sparks cannot be held accountable for anything that the PlayStation 4 beta will do to your PlayStation 4. Terms and conditions on our website. Also, while you're there, please subscribe to iTunes
and write us a review on iTunes.
There you go. I've got to say, I'm the legal corner now.
That's brilliant. I just defer to Anthony's legal corner. Whatever Darren says, don't act on it, because it's all nonsense and it's not his fault. And that goes for both of us. So Anthony says it's not nonsense, but even so, it's not our fault. Anyway, I digress. You'll like this next piece of quick news, Anthony. It's a Firewatch piece of news.
Awesome game.
Now, apparently, on the Firewatch website, you could buy a few pieces of merchandise, and one of the things was a notebook, like that were featured in the game. And the notebook, they wanted it to look very much like a real thing. So inside it had like a mail order invoice of books you could buy. So it was by Red Panda, the Red Panda collection it was called, and you could buy all these different books. And one of the fans filled in this mail order thing. It was only a fake thing, and he ticked the box for Mo Marlow's Road of Desire series, Love at First Sight. It's like a Mills and Boon book that was advertised within Firewatch, and he sent in the mail order slip to the Firewatch devs, along with a note that said, "I love the art and story in Firewatch. Thanks for..." I'm just trying to read his handwriting because it's his note that I'm looking at. "Thanks for making such a fun, relaxing game. And hey, this probably goes nowhere, but it's fun to play along in the off chance that something happens." And he'd filled in the mail order subscription thing from this notebook that he'd bought from the merchandise site, and ticked the box for Love at First Sight, the sort of Mills and Boons alike that they were advertising. And anyway, this went through to the devs, and they thought it was so great that somebody had actually done this, that they created the book for him.
Wow.
So they made a book of Love at First Sight, and it's so Mills and Boon when you look at it. It's like one of them trashy romance novels that you see down Tesco or whatever at the supermarket. And they made it for this guy. It's got a front cover. It's got a back cover that gives some of the plot of the book. I'm thinking that maybe it's not actually a book, that it's probably just like a notepad inside. But it looks really cool. And they sent it to him. But they also, when they did send it, they said they pretended to be Red Panda Press, who were the made-up author, the fictitious authors or publishers of these books. And they said that was the last one that they could find in the warehouse. So they were just making that point that they wouldn't be making any more for anyone else that starts copying and writing in saying that they want a copy of the book. But the devs just said that it was a fantastic way to get not only a compliment but a fan playing along with the idea of the game. And they said that they were delighted to go out and buy a special printer because they had cause to do it. They went off and got a special printer and spent some time doing it because, well, they said just sort of why the hell not? You know, what a great way to thank a fan.
That is amazing. That is absolutely superb.
Really nice. So it just goes to show, you know, if you have a crazy idea, you really love a game and you think, oh, you know, I'd love to do this. Like the guy that offered to buy, I think it was Fallout 4 or something, for so many bottle caps, and he sent them a box of bottle caps and they just thought he was so cheeky and funny that they sent him a copy of the game. You know, if you've got a crazy idea, you know, maybe try it. Though I wouldn't want to pay the postage for 10,000 bottle caps or whatever it is. It probably costs more than the game. So that's Firewatch Story. The next one we've got is Zelda. You like this, Anthony. Modders are working on an emulated version of Zelda Breath of the Wild on the emulator CEMU, where they've got Breath of the Wild working fully now, apparently. So you can play it in 4K on PC, I believe. Yeah, they've used the Wii U version, because I think CEMU is an experimental Wii U emulator. And within days of Breath of the Wild coming out, they were starting to emulate it. And now they've got it working to a great, you know, it's fully playable, apparently.
Wow.
I haven't seen any footage, but I'm sure that I read somewhere that because it's on PC, you could run it in 4K, which is awesome. But in addition to that, the news story is that one of the modders, or some of the modders within this team, are now going to have now decided that the one thing missing from this game is 2-player co-op. So they've started working on that, and they posted some pictures on NeoGAF of how it might work, which show one player trying to mount on the other player's horse, and it's saying the prompt saying you cannot ride player one's horse. And another picture of the two guys in a shrine together. It looks at two links in a shrine. So they've said that it will take a long time to get it done, but they're working on it. And when I was thinking about it, I thought it'd be fantastic if the game was exactly as it is, but that, you know, us guys could hook up should we choose to. Have a horse race, have a gliding race, all sorts of different things. Sort of a more mellow Grand Theft Auto multiplayer game going on within Zelda. I thought, wow, wouldn't that be amazing? Maybe that's something that we've got to look forward to in another Zelda. But if you've got a PC and if you've got a copy, if you're willing to stick your toe into the grey area of emulation, and you own a copy of Breath of the Wild on Wii U, I think then you're allowed to. Within a year, you could maybe be playing Breath of the Wild in 4K co-op.
Wow, that would be so cool, because right now Nicola is at 98% complete for Breath of the Wild, and she's missing one Korok seed and one shrine.
Wow.
And cannot find them, and it's driving her bonkers. But she's
got that Path of the Hero going on.
Yes, yeah, but she's up to, she has to watch it because she's up to about 170 hours. She's very close to the end. It was really funny, actually, because with the Hero's Path, you can actually press play on that, and it will show you with a green line, and you can speed it up where you kind of started and where you went in the game. It's fascinating to watch.
I bet it is.
So when Nicola was working out kind of where the Korok seeds were that she hadn't got, you could easily see on the map using the Hero's Path areas where you haven't been. You're like, I haven't been to that section at all. But she is missing one Korok seed at the moment, like I say, in one shrine. So she's 98.7% complete right now.
Wow. Well, I expect that by next week, she's not getting bored, is she?
No, she's absolutely loving it. So she's doing all the DLC quests now as well, just because she's got that mask on with the shakes, and then so she's like going around the map, hoping that maybe it will shake, and then she'll get that final Korok seed.
Flipping heck. Talk about a needle in a haystack.
Yeah,
crikey.
We're thinking about kind of, because there's a couple of websites that have interactive maps, so we're thinking about kind of printing out the map in A3, and then just like looking and just ticking every single one off, but that's like 899 Korok seeds.
Yeah, I sort of had a picture of you both then as if you were on a pirate ship, and like dressed in sort of like proper pirate Captain Hook type gear, and sort of like with the map on the table, right, and sort of plotting it out with compasses and things, working out where it is. Well, give her my best, mate, and the best of luck in her endeavours.
Yes,
hope she does it.
Oh God, she will not. I don't think she'll leave that game until she has done it, because that's kind of how she is. But it's just like she just can't find those last ones, and it's just so annoying, because she was like, right, I've got 15 left to go, and I need 15, but one of them turned out to be a dud, or she'd already got it or something, and it was just like, oh, so there's one little Korok somewhere.
What's her likely reaction when she finally gets the 100%? Is she the kind of girl that's going to jump up and down and sort of punch the air, and it'll be like, let's go out, this is Demon, we're going out for a meal? Or will she just sort of shrug nonchalantly and say, done it now?
Oh no, it would definitely be celebratory and high fives all round. I think it would be a good cup of tea and some chocolate.
Oh.
But no, there'd definitely be celebratory high fives going around, I think, when she gets that, because
you should give up something until she's done it.
Right.
You love the sound of that, don't you?
I
do. Like, well, give up chocolate until you found the last Korok.
Yeah, that's it. Until you get that last shrine, like I say, she was like, yeah, that's it. No more vegetables until
no more steak.
yeah, exactly. No more. There they go. No more of my Yorkshire puddings until she gets them.
Wow. And then you'll be both plotting away trying to find it.
She will be up night and day trying to get those.
Start rowing.
Yeah. Just give me a Yorkshire pudding, just one. I'll find
a Korok, and then
I'll find her downstairs just hugging the tub of flour.
Yeah. Brilliant. So the next thing in Quick News Corner, and the final thing, is that Atari, you may have heard of it, are releasing a new console. It's a little bit of a mini one. It's called the Atari Box. We found out what it's called. It's called the Atari Box, and it looks pretty cool. They've got one it's coming in two flavours. One's got a sort of, the front of it has got kind of wood grain effect. Mm-hmm. Another one's sort of a red and black version. The other one's like got the wood grain effect, and that's and black. It's got some nice grooves on it. It looks okay. It looks like it might attract quite a lot of dust in the grooves, but it does sort of look like a nice nod to the old Atari 2600 that I used to use. Mm-hmm. So it looks quite cool. The thing is, they've revealed this hardware, but they haven't revealed any games. They've sort of said they haven't really given much definite of anything. They've said that, or they've hinted that it's going to run vintage games, but then they've also said that they've kind of said it enigmatically but it's got if you look at the ports on it, you can see that it obviously will be able to run modern games too. That was the kind of the statement. But then, that's really so general. Modern games, it's looking to me a little bit like an Android box. Now, what you've got on the box itself, you've got 4 USBs, you've got an Ethernet, you've got an HDMI, a power, maybe that's a USB-C, and maybe that's an SD card slot. So that's the ports on it, because we haven't got an official spec. We've just got this picture, and it's kind of like, well, what's it going to be then? Just an Android box in a chassis with an Atari logo on it, which means it'd be able to run all the Atari games from the 2600 days, and I think it's going to be like sort of mobile games that it'll probably run as well. It'd be nice if it was more. I'm not sure if it will be. Like Atari, the quote from Atari is, "Those ports suggest modern internal specs." What kind of statement is that? It's like this talking to the Sphinx. It's like, riddle me this. Those ports suggest modern internal specs. It also means that while we will be delivering classic gaming content, we will also be delivering current gaming content. And then disappearing into sort of a whirlwind of question marks and puzzled faces. So the jury's out on this. It looks like okay. Is there a market for an Atari box? Are they seeing the success of the Mini NES and the Mini SNES and thinking that they could have a piece of that pie? But is Atari as desirable as Nintendo stuff? I mean, I probably would be tempted, but then I've been tempted by loads of these. I haven't bought one of those mini Mega Drives. I haven't bought any of these little consoles. I mean, you can buy an Atari joystick that's loaded up with loads of games. That looks really cool. Have you seen that? It's like the actual joystick thing. So, I don't know. So there you go. Just thought I'd mention it.
It looks very cool, doesn't it? The box. I think one of the listeners kind of sent us a direct message that they're on Twitter saying, "Have you checked this out? Have you seen this?" And I was having a look at that, and I was really impressed. I was really impressed by the look of it. It looks very cool. But yeah, I don't like the ambiguity that's wrapped around it. It's just they should come out like Nintendo have done. Okay, you're not going to be able to get one, but here's the box, and here's all the games, and that's it. None of this kind of this stuff that they're doing right now.
I think you're right. I think the ambiguity is quite scary. It makes you think. It's a bit like when a game's held back for review. It's kind of like, yeah, we'll get people wanting it before they know what it is, sort of thing. Yeah. It looks to me like a router. Looks like a router. I'll be plugging my broadband into it, and that's what it is. It's just the Atari Wi-Fi router.
Superb. Excellent. So that was your quick news corner, and now it's time to head over to the VR news desk for all the latest in VR.
It could have been quicker, couldn't it, that? It could have been a quick news corner. I'll try and make it quicker if we have it again. So the first thing we've got on our VR desk is some kart VR games. Now, I think we talked about the Mario Kart game, the VR Mario Kart game in Japan. Hopefully that's going to come to the British Isles at some point, and that looks really cool. So that's a full VR game, Mario Kart Arcade VR, or is it Arcade GP VR? Something like that. Oh, Mario Kart Arcade GP VR. Looks really good. That's a game that uses the HTC Vive headset, and you have a real steering wheel, and you raise your hand with one of the controllers to activate items around the track. That looks really cool. But there's also another one that I know is called Hado Kart. And this one is an AR Mario Kart type game. And in this game, people sit on like sort of a bumper car, but just the wheels bit, just the kart bit. So at the very bottom, you've got no sides of it, you've got no door. You just sat on sort of a widened skateboard, if you like, with four wheels on it. Very, very stripped down kart. You wear a HoloLens, and then you go around the arena, and the HoloLens projects into reality. It gives you the augmented reality coins, bombs, etc. that you collect.
Right.
So you race around in real. So you're actually racing around a proper sort of arena, kart arena, collecting coins to win, grabbing power-ups and throwing them at each other, and all the power-ups and the coins, they're all the augmented bit.
Wow.
It looks really cool. I've got a video that I'll put a link to on the show notes. But yeah, so you're avoiding the other guys, you're avoiding bombs, you're grabbing the bombs and throwing them at each other. Then if you blow somebody up, their coins scatter around, and then you're racing around picking them up. And that's all, but all you're doing in real life is racing around in the cart. And everything else is done by the AR. I think it looks really cool. Looks really good.
That's really cool. Like it.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm just having a quick look at the video now, and I'm looking at that, and it's just awesome. They're doing handbrake turns and stuff. They're drifting around. They're collecting the coins. They're throwing the bombs at each other. All they're really doing is going around really in an empty place. But the HoloLens just adds that extra dimension. It's really cool. So the next thing we've got is another AR story. Being bored at the airport. It's bad enough for adults, but what about for poor kids, eh? Well, Heathrow Airport are trying to introduce a way of avoiding that boredom for children by adding an AR app or an AR game or for children called Ads Reality. This is aimed at children to entertain them while they're just sitting around at the airport bored, and I've been there as a child, and it's pretty boring. I suppose it's not as boring now. They just play on the Switch or the iPad or anything, but what they can do now, they can use their smartphone or mobile device that's got a camera, and then they can focus it on all these different digital badges that they've installed at Heathrow around the airport. And when they look at the digital badge, then they get an animation from the world of Mr. Men or the Little Miss characters, and one of the characters from Mr. Men or Little Miss will appear and entertain them while they're waiting for the plane. I think that's quite a good idea.
That's really cool.
It is good, isn't it? And it also, there's a side effect as well. Well, not a side effect, but Heathrow are going to use it as well as to keep the kids happy. They'll be able to check sort of numbers of people going through the airport as well, using it, and how many people are in areas at one time and stuff like that. So they're gonna use it to track footfall through the terminals at the airport as well. But yeah, I quite like the idea of that.
That's really cool.
It makes me think about like in the old days of playing Mass Effect at the Citadel, and you'd walk up to a stand and there'd be a hologram giving you the information. It's probably been in thousands of films, that sort of thing. But, it's not a great leap from this to that. First it's Mr. Men characters, but then there could be information points that you use that at first I suppose we look at through a tablet or through our phone, and you just focus on an area, and it could bring up some kind of virtual information assistant, things like that, or other kind of entertainment. I just think I just quite like the idea of it. So that's going to be implemented. It's not implemented yet, but when it is, hopefully we'll hear some information about how it is and how entertaining it is. Because I suppose that's the crux of it. Just how interesting it is. Will it keep the kids happy? Is it actually a viable alternative to them playing Mario Kart on the Switch or Plants vs Zombies on the iPad? Because it'd have to be pretty pretty engaging to rival those, wouldn't it? But still, it's a nice idea. Maybe they're thinking about kids that are sort of not of an age that they'd be dexterous enough to play those games. So, cool idea from Heathrow Airport, and a sign, I think, of something that we'll get in much greater numbers and much greater degree of complexity as time goes on and as if this kind of thing spreads. So it's like just a baby step into that area, really. And finally, the Ready Player One team commenting about the trailer debut. So maybe it's a bit of a leap to put this in the VR desk, but it's a film about VR, isn't it? And the trailer dropped the other day, didn't it?
It did indeed, during San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh my goodness me! I thought it was amazing.
It was incredible. The whole trailer is just an assault on the senses, from the Iron Giant to the DeLorean to Christine, the car from Stephen King, Akira's bike. It is just non-stop, just wall to wall. I think you and I were chatting, and I didn't think they would be able to do this. And Steven Spielberg is obviously the director behind this, and I think you need someone like that to be able to do it, and logistical, all of these different IPs and properties. How the hell are they getting them in to get in this one movie? But the trailer looked fascinating, didn't it? Yeah,
the trailer looked so much better than I expected.
Yes.
I'd drawn my optimism in, really, and closely guarded my cautious optimism, because I was so fearful that, and still am to a degree, that this could not be anything like the book. But the trailer has opened up those optimism gates somewhat. Yeah. And so after the trailer had been debuted, some of the team spoke about it. So the co-screenwriter Zach Penn said this. He said, "This was definitely the most complex movie I've ever worked on. There's so much material. There's so much stuff in the book you can use. To be honest with you, I thought, well, this will never happen. We'll never be able to make this movie because we need, Steven Spielberg to direct it." That made everything a lot easier because they got him, didn't they?
Well, exactly. I mean, when I showed this to Nicola on kind of Sunday morning, I was like, Steven Spielberg is calling in some favours, isn't he, with this? Because there are so many, as I said, there's so many properties that are just, even in this trailer, the amount of properties that you could just count that need to be here, and a lot of people are very guarded about that, which is why we're only just getting Spider-Man in the Marvel Universe. They're very guarded about their properties, and the fact that you just in the shots of this trailer, we'll stick it in the show notes if you haven't already seen Ready Player One trailer. You know, there's so much there. You know, it's darting all of these different studios. You know, it's not just Warner Brothers Studios. It's just all over the shop of all these different IPs that are owned. You know, Freddy Krueger's in there for one point. You know, it's just
the trailer really is sort of. Not even so subtly, but sort of saying, isn't it? It's kind of hinting to you, or it's kind of reassuring us all that saying, "Look, we've got these in here."
Yeah, we've
and
done
that's it. That's what the book needs. Ernest Cline said in an interview with Variety before the panel at Comic-Con, he said, "I knew none of this stuff could be cleared," which is what's crazy about Steven Spielberg becoming the director. I don't think anybody else could have gotten all the pop culture items that we got cleared to be in the movie. Yeah. I never realised, you probably realised this, I never realised when they got Steven Spielberg that he was the key to unlocking all this.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You know, he's calling in so many favours. You know,
but when I heard that he'd been called, when I heard that got him, I didn't know that he was pivotal to be able to do this. And it's only now that I realise, I'm like, wow, I didn't realise the impact that, you know, way back when we heard that he was directing, that meant that the possibility of this film being the film that we want it to be was going to be closer to being what we wanted it to be because of him. I didn't realise. And like reading that and listening to you, it's like, crikey, how could I not have known? Sort of thing. But it's amazing.
You know, when Steven Spielberg comes knocking, you don't say no, do you? You know, if it was a fledgling director, one of the new directors like Gareth Edwards or something like that, who's kind of, you know, they've made some really good movies, but is still unproven, then it would probably be a different story. Because if an unknown director is coming to your studio and saying, "Oh, I want to put Duke Nukem into this movie," and he's just going to get killed, he's just there as a, you know, one character is going to be it, you'll probably go no. You know, and as I said before, you know, it's like you've seen that with Spider-Man, you've seen that with so many other IPs and properties. People are very guarded about them because they want to make sure they're being treated right. But, you know, Steven Spielberg is just like, right, I need this, you know, I need whoever, you know, I need Knight Rider, you know, but we're going to blow it up, and they're like, okay, you can have it, you know, because this is going to be just an amazing movie, you know, and it's really interesting, kind of like we talked about the guys already, but like James and friend of the show Manny, they're both those guys that I think they've both bought the book, but they haven't read it, and they're both thinking like really should have written. And I was trying to say to them over the weekend that, you know, if you haven't read this book, then try and read this book before you go and see it in the movies, because the book is fantastic and it would enhance that movie.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite books ever. I really love it. I love it so much. I've only read it twice. I need to read it again, because the second time I read it, I was surprised at how much I loved it, equally, if not more, than the first time. And the first time I read it, it was one of those books, you know, when you read, like, I think it was like the first paragraph, never mind the first page, or even the first couple of lines even. And I was just like, oh my goodness me, I love this book. And I loved it all the way through it. And when I finished it, I genuinely felt sad, as if I'd lost a friend. It was that bad. And it's only a thin book, but I love it. And I know it's, you know, it's not Dickens or anything, but man, you know, fitting in with what I enjoy, and gaming and VR and 80s stuff and all the rest of it, it's just so perfect. And I've recommended it to loads of people, and everybody that I've recommended to has absolutely loved it. It's been the feature of book clubs because of myself. But an interesting little story was that a friend of mine, she got her nephew to read the book, and actually my nephew read the book, so they're not kids of the 80s, because we kind of discussed it and we were like, maybe if you went around in the 80s you wouldn't care, you know, because it's all about just kind of a nostalgia vampire, you know, it's just get targeting all those people, and that's all. And some people argue that that's all it's about, but I love the story anyway. I love the content. The pop culture references were kind of just like icing, like gravy to me. And anyway, I asked Marla about it, and she was like, he's read it, he absolutely loved it. And, you know, and rather than just not being interested in the pop culture references, it actually made him go out and hunt them down. and kindle an interest into things like Zork and war games and all the rest of it. I don't want to spoil anymore. Well, just anything that happened in the 80s decade is in this film, or in this book, I should say. I think it's an amazing book, and that's why it's so. It's just so scary at being made into a film, because it's kind of impossible for the film to be as good as the book. But the trailer looks good.
Yeah, trailer kind of gives. I mean, I've always kind of wondered, like, how the hell are they going to be able to do the second Halliday egg, where they're almost recreating war games. You know, you're always going to be and I'll shut up, but I'm just like, how the hell can you do that? You know, how can you do that in a movie? But it's just going to be, you know, it's quite interesting that when you kind of like, you've been tracking this movie, and names like Robert Zemeckis and Chris Nolan, Peter Jackson, Edgar Wright have all been attached to this movie. It's like everybody wants a piece, you know, everybody wanted to kind of do it. And, you know, and like I say, it took Steven Spielberg to and his gravitas to be able to kind of make this movie. It's definitely kind of, as you said, you know, from Zach Penn, it's definitely kind of one of the most complex movies you're ever going to see. Yeah,
if it works, it's going to be something else. If it doesn't, it's going to be a crying shame. But you kind of can't blame it. You could be like, well, if it doesn't work, you could kind of get away with it as an impossible task.
Yes,
and it's just like, well, just read the book. Actually, at the Play Expo, there was a guy who had a first edition signed of Ready Player One.
Oh wow, really?
And I was like, oh mate, look, you got Ready Player One. He went. I said, is that a first edition? He was like, yeah, and it's signed. And I was like, oh, wow. And I said, how much is it? He went, it's £100. And I said, that doesn't sound too bad. I said, is it for sale? He said, not really. He said, because I think that once the film drops, it's going to skyrocket.
Yeah. People are going to be clamoring for stuff about this, aren't they? When it does drop.
Yeah. And then loads of people will be buying the book. I would hope.
That's a good thing. You know, that's a good thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Watching the first season of Game of Thrones made me read all the Game of Thrones books. And there's many other instances of that. You know, it works both ways. You know, it's not just books to films. Films can inspire a whole new audience, can't they?
Yes.
And as I say, it's unfortunately, I wish that Ready Player One was like not like Game of Thrones in that it's unfinished, but like Game of Thrones in that there was millions of volumes that I could just read forever and always be happy. But unfortunately, it's quite thin. But fortunately, you know, you could read it on a big commute.
Yeah, it's a great book. It's absolutely, and if you are feeling lazy, then Will Wheaton does a really good job narrating the audiobook as well.
I'd love to hear that. Have you got the audiobook? Have you listened to it? I've never listened to it.
I have. I got it. I got a free download from. Audible. If you like, just sign up from Audible or Amazon Prime. There's a free download, and I was like, oh, I'll give it a try. And I had like a 30-day trial, and I just listened to parts of Ready Player One.
I really love that idea because it's a way that you can like read a book together. I quite like that. Like it reminds me, it harkens me to the old days when people didn't have TVs and they'd gather around the radio. I quite like the idea of that and listening to something like that.
Just like podcasts.
Just like this lovely, warm podcast that you're listening to now.
And with that, that's about it for episode 100. Awesome. Big thank you very much for listening to this and all of the other Lost Spark podcasts. Don't forget you can keep up with us at gamersoflostspark.com. That's where we're going to put all of these links that we've hopefully been keeping track of during the show. You can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter, we're at Lost Spark Pod. You can find us on YouTube and also the Gamers of Lost Spark PS4 community and Xbox One Club. Daz, where can people find you online?
Yeah, you can find me as Wythermator on PS4, Xbox One and Twitch, Dazagamer on YouTube and at Daz Whittam on Twitter.
Excellent stuff for me. I am Chessman on Xbox Live and Nintendo Switch. I'm PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network and Chessman UK on Twitter. If you have any questions or topics you would like us to discuss, then please send an email to feedback@gamersoflostspark.com, or you can also tweet us at LostSparkPod. Also, don't forget, you can rate, review and subscribe to us on iTunes. Last time I'll plug that. Right, thanks very much, guys. Catch you later.
Yeah, thanks a lot for listening, everybody, to 100 of our episodes. And here's to many more. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye.